Yeah, I already checked it.
And we're live.
Welcome to From the Ground Up podcast. Thank you so much for being here. And unfortunately, for most of you out there, Melissa really wants to play this song. And if we didn't have the sound on the podcast before, maybe that would have been smoother.
Ride till we can't no more.
Oh, man, you know that you're recorded, right?
Yeah, that was my great singing voice. Isn't that what you guys missed for a whole week since we talked to you last?
I think people really, really hate that song to begin with. So you singing it, I'm sure, really makes them love it.
Well, you know what? No one said anything in the chat about it, so I'm assuming it's just us talking to each other right now. So I think everyone.
No one saw your elaborate joke.
No, I mean it was really meant.
It's a really, really catchy.
It was only meant for Ryan, but
yeah. Well, you could tell him about it later. Maybe he'll watch it back for a second time.
Well, guys, so as you can tell, if you are watching, it is. Oh wait, they can't tell because we.
Maybe you should have started with just the two of us.
Shoot! I was gonna say, as you can tell, if you're watching, it's just the two of us, but they can't because we always do this in the beginning before we shoot over to our guests. But back it up, pick it up. It is just the two of us today, so expect terrible intro and outros. But
what? Why are you dragging this out so long?
What did I just say? I said expect terrible intros and outros, but also expect like good insight into what we've been thinking and talking about.
But first, we wanted to talk about the fundraiser for OCIC. So we are selling shirts on Theportcitypythons.com, and all the proceeds go to fund Indigo Snake Conservation, and it ends this Friday. So please buy a shirt. I thank you. The Indigos thank you.
The Indigos thank you.
Yep, they told me.
I think we're up to like 15?
No, we're in the 30s.
Okay.
But hopefully, I want next year, I want to sell 100 shirts.
That's yeah, I think
maybe that's ambitious. So, I learned a lot on how to properly promote the shirt thing because this is our first time ever doing it. So I feel like I gained a lot of insight to which we can use to our advantage next time we do it. I probably should have asked Eric and Owen.
That's what. We need to like use our resources, which are friends, our resources.
We need to bother our friends.
We'll just be like, hey, will you share this? Or hey, NPR, will you mention this on your podcast? Which they might. I don't know.
I may even send out a few shirts, to people for them to post
next year,
or something like that.
So learning experience, but thank you to everyone, every of you 30-ish people who have bought shirts. We raised over $100 for the OCIC.
When I did it was over 300, and that was a few shirts ago.
So there you go.
And then other than that, we did sell some animals, but we don't really have more. I think we may have a few more available. And other than that,
so I guess let's dive in. I'm sure you have a plan for how you want this to go.
Yes. So we wanted to overview a little bit on what we have done in the past and everything that we have done coming up to now. So of course we're in their breeding season now, but last year was our first big breeding season, and we officially sold out, I think, just a few weeks ago.
Which is crazy.
So, I feel like we made the perfect amount, but somehow we produced the perfect amount.
To hold out till the next breeding season.
But now we're going to be producing more. And last year was really busy. I was, at first I was like, oh, this is nothing. It's really not a big deal. And then when things started happening all at the same time, when you have, laying, setting up egg boxes, and hatching, setting up babies, waiting for certain babies to shed, and taking pictures of all the babies, sexing them, and trying to do that all. And then weirdly in July, they all kind of overlap, and you're kind of screwed because sexing babies takes forever, and it's very, very messy, and it's ugh.
Yeah.
And then trying to, that's when I separate them after that. And then we take pictures and everything, and then when they're ready and get some meals. So we do take pictures, before we. Why are you looking at me like that?
I don't know.
we just take pictures and do everything before we put them up on the website and go to sell them. So, and then obviously we get like 5 to 10 meals in them, but at that same time, you're doing all the other things. So it's a pain.
You were like, okay, let's back up to the last breeding season, and then you're jumping forward. And also last breeding season, after we had finished with the corns and everything, and I'd always loved corns, but I was having this big draw to king snakes. And I have to say, like, I was definitely, I mean, I've said this multiple times, I was definitely the push.
To get the king snakes. 100%.
To get the king snakes. When I was, I don't know, something about them, something about the crisp black and white, and even the albinos too. The albinos not as much, but the crisp black and white I really, really liked. And I pushed us into it. And we, like, over the course of the year, added a little bit more. And so we ended up with how many? Not including the Brooks.
We probably ended up with a group a little bit smaller than 10 or so.
Cali Kings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we decided that we tried to breed them, but kind of like half-heartedly.
No, see, well, okay. I don't know if it's a mixture of just Cali King's nature with the ones that we got, or a whole bunch of stuff, but we just happened to get a lot of assholes. Like,
no, I mean,
yes, not a lot.
No, just they're not as fun to work with as the other stuff that we keep. I just don't like working with them as much, and they are Cal Kings.
Also, to our fault, we kind of just accepted the sex that they were sold to us as when we got them for a long time. And we've had a lot of these for many, many months, and just assumed that whoever we got it from was right, which, like, was dumb on our part, because we got half them off Craigslist from, like, 16-year-old girls who don't know anything about snakes. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know why we did that, but I think that definitely pushed us. We might have been different if we had sexed them earlier. But so after we tried breeding and everything and it wasn't working, then we were like, let's buy a probe and actually
probe all of them. So I probed, went through them, and we ended up having 3 or 4 of the females and 1 male or something like that, and then another male that was too small. So it ended up still, the ratio was good. We still had females, and then I was like, do I want to keep on trying to breed them? And it just got to the point where I was just like, screw it, let's sell the project off. And it's because I realized that I wasn't really giving it the best shot, as far as I always said to myself, like, when I commit to a project, I'm going to commit to a project and see it through. But that one, I felt we went in so haphazardly with, and I wasn't really into it, to be honest. But you were into it, so I figured that we'd go for it. But I don't know. They need more. They probably need more attention than they were given, as far as, like, just my want to work with them in comparison to the other animals.
I think it was a interesting crossroads that we hadn't come to yet of, obviously you got into this for your love of snakes, but at some point, like, this is also, a business we're doing. And at some point, money is a factor. And so we were thinking about it like, okay, wait, do we keep going with this because we know selling Cal Kings will make money and it will grow our business, even if we're not, like, really into it? And that was definitely something I battled with myself, because I was like, we're not hurting them by continuing the project. We're not doing anything wrong by them, but it was. But
I would just be doing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wouldn't have any vision for it. I wouldn't have, like, I didn't foresee what projects I wanted to do with them. We just had males and females, and
we just found ones randomly.
And that's not how I want to do everything.
Yeah. And I wonder how many.
And some of them were really, really cool.
I wonder how many other breeders, like when have they come to that point of, like, okay, wait.
I think it happens often, and I think the ones that are successful don't they're able to move on in a way that they find qualified homes for the animals and then say, you know, like it's actually better off going to this one person as a pet than me haphazardly breeding them. I mean, to be honest, there can be, if I'm not enjoying it, then what's the point? I can give it to someone else who's enjoying it or who wants to work with them in the future. And as long as they're giving attention to it, then that's
we
great.
could bring more to people who would want to work with them in the future, and like
right. But and then you're letting me go with that, and it's also part of just something that we're shifting towards anyway.
Yeah. And it was also like, just because, you know,
like we don't need animals just to have them.
Right. We're not there. But it's also like in the back of my mind, like, wow, you know, we do a podcast every week and we talk about stuff so much. And I felt like I had like talked about my love of Cali Kings so much. And then I felt kind of like a phony for not liking them anymore. I don't know, like it, and I think if it had been like just us and nobody knew us or whatever, it would have been an easier decision.
Your first time going through that, and everyone has it. You get really, really pumped up about a species, or you know, maybe I was talking about Amazon tree boas for like 3 months, and like everyone's like, "Yeah, this guy really loves Amazon tree boas," and then you get the Amazon tree boa, and then you're like, maybe I don't need as many of these, you know, like maybe I'm good with 1 or 2. And, you know, that's kind of how I felt about the Cali Kings in a way. I still love them. They're still awesome.
Right.
But I don't need a lot of them, and I don't need to reproduce a lot of them. And just the Brooks King snakes just really took me by surprise with how much I liked them from the get-go. And I was like, whoa, why don't we just turn all of these into Brooks King snakes?
Yeah,
like if I could do that, I would.
Boop.
So it's like, well, if that's how I really feel, why don't we just go for it and sell them? And I hate doing that, and I hate not keeping animals for a while. But
we do have to also acknowledge.
But we got to be smart about it, and we got to be smart about it for the animals and for us too.
I think it was funny. We talked about this on our Instagram, that when we did probe them, we ended up with 3 females and 1 male. And that was like even another layer to the conflicting thing. It's like,
well,
shit,
turns out
like,
we got a shot.
This is what people would dream for, to have 3.
Now that I know females. I can be intentional about it and breed the male accordingly and go about it the right way.
Right. But then at the end of the day, even though we had that situation and, you know, we could have bred them, it just, our hearts weren't in it, and we're trying to.
And it's a stupid part of the season to try to do it. But I mean, and it's also the point where, you know, we're spending so much money on food for all the adults and pumping them up for breeding season. And, you know, at the end of the day, the money doesn't hurt at this time of the season. So we had mismanaged, even though I knew the seasonality was coming, I didn't like manage appropriately as far as money goes. So like we were just spending too much money these few months
getting ready for breeding
and
season,
we haven't been selling at all, and I didn't have enough saved up from the previous season. So this year round I will do that differently, hopefully. Or I'm an idiot, I'll probably do something similar to the end. Maybe it'll be lessened, but it will always be harder this time of the year. But I want to make sure that I know when it's good to save that money and not reinvest it like I did this year. But
you said that a little bit. So we are switching our kind of Kings project right now to Brooks Kings. And that's what is it that you like about them?
Brooks Kings, well, they're all king snakes to the point that
they're all king snakes.
If you hold them long enough, you'll probably get the sharp end eventually. And they're hungry and all that stuff, but for whatever reason, they're just less on edge than the other ones. They'll still rattle, they'll still must, they will probably still bite, even though I haven't been bit by them. But I think it's just more of a size and the possibility and the patterning to them. And our 2 just happen to be nice. So maybe, I mean, I get the next one and it's terrible. Well, no, I have a 3rd one here, a younger one who is a little bit of a demon, but I don't know. There's something about him that I can handle more for some reason, even though they do get a little bit bigger.
They are thicker, and that's kind of what not scared me, but I was a little bit more cautious with them in the beginning than the Cali Kings. So just they're more heavy bodied, but at least ours are very calm compared. I mean, some of our Cali Kings, I'm not putting my hand.
But
when
you feed them, they're crazy.
Right.
They are crazy.
And what's funny is I'm not actually a huge fan of the ones that we have. And so I think that's what kept me back from ever thinking about possibly going more into them.
Oh, you weren't fans of those morphs in particular?
Sorry. The morphs that we have currently. Right. As far as, phenotypically, they don't do anything for me. But you always, your eye sees more purple and everything than I ever do in it. But recently we've been doing a little bit more searching and basically window shopping of different brooks, and I'm just learning so many more.
They are just as variable as the other colubrids. It's just there's less people.
I just had we went to the White Plains show and there's a T-neg. But I mean, I'd never heard of that.
Which is simple. It's just a T-negative albino.
But no one's talking about that. I feel like they only talk about T-negs in bloods.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's the main thing. The only thing that T-neg is really.
But the morph thing in pythons is so much bigger than it is in colubrids for whatever reason. And even though the market seems to be shifting towards colubrids, it seems to be more for the pet market. It doesn't seem to be as much for people looking for a morph combo and to invest in order to breed in the future. It just feels different than, say, a lot of your pythons. The guys are actually investing in quotations and then trying to get their money back. That's not really the mentality when it comes to colubrids. So I don't think the morphs get a lot of play because people are like, oh yeah, it's a morph, dude. I get it. It's probably an understandably it's understandable how unenthused you can be about the morphs because you love the natural animal and you love all the other things that it can offer, not just the random color and how rare it is and therefore how expensive it is. So
right. But that T-neg we saw.
Oh, it's amazing. If you're just doing it off of eye, like corn snakes, king snakes, all this stuff, you can get purple, yellow, pink. What the hell?
Crazy.
Just an eye test. These are the greatest snakes of all time.
Okay,
but there's something that's missing as far as for whatever reason people not relate, but are more just into the pythons for whatever reason, body or head shape.
What else did we see at White Plains? We saw the T-neg. What is the other one? A firecracker?
Also, James keeps on saying, why don't you get into Apalachicola king snakes? I don't know if he's kidding, but
James, excuse me. Have you listened to any of our podcasts?
I don't know if he's messing with us or not.
I don't think he is.
But if you don't know, Apalachicola king snakes was actually a close relative of, well, they're all related, but closer at least in what would you call that? Natural range to the Florida king snake. So therefore it's an easy hop over, and we've been looking for Goin eye or Means eye. They changed. We've been looking for an animal, but we saw an animal in the past at a random pet store.
We've been looking for it since, when did we go home? October last year, either October or November of last year. And we went home to visit my parents, and we went into a random pet shop and saw my favorite Goin eye that I have seen. And literally to the point where I was like, okay, my parents live in North Carolina. I looked at all the reptile shows near my parents and messaged almost every colubrid breeder at the reptile shows, trying to see who has them.
Just anyone who could possibly produce them, wholesale them. And even if, we've mentioned a few times on the show, but if you know anyone who's got Goin eye, but we're looking for something a very specific animal. That's the thing. We're picky, and then also these animals aren't produced enough. So you're going to see a lot of your
blotched.
You're going to see a lot of your blotched, a lot of your blaze blotched, whatever the hell. And your regular patterned, which is these off-centered rectangle pattern down the back, if that makes any sense. Probably not. Look it up because I'm not a good descriptor. But these ones were striped, and it seems like they're all variable. So if you breed stripes to a stripe, you may not necessarily get all striped. But JB Herbie said, check out Kayla Bell. She has a crazy goini, but it's not striped.
That's the
she
thing.
has some crazy goini and not striped.
Everyone, or not everyone, I've seen lots of beautiful goini, but they are not the stripes we're looking for.
And these ones were just in a pet store, and they were like orange, reddish, like
and the
like
stripe
bright,
was the full
and
body.
The stripe was full
like it was
and dark, and they were amazing. And there was actually 2 of them, and they
Yeah.
were both males. But we're stupid, and I was like $110. Like I remember like seeing these on tables at reptile shows for like $50. I'm sure we can find one just like this.
We've literally had this conversation. Joe's like, no, Melissa, like this is ridiculous. We're gonna be able to find them, and
we're gonna get them from the actual breeder that's
Right,
not marked
right.
up by a pet store.
And now it's May, and we have yet to find them. I got a lead on some possible eggs.
Yeah, we got plenty eggs-ish and some names of like, and most of the guys breeding goini or meansai they're usually not like your Facebook guys. They're typically like, you got the name and now we got to figure out how to get to them somehow. I don't know. So we got to go down that rabbit hole eventually if we can't find any. I'm sure there's going to be plenty this spring, and we'll keep an eye out. But yeah, I'd be pumped to get some, and that is kind of the next piece of our puzzle, and that's because another piece of the puzzle closed as well. I don't know if I was going to tell anyone about it.
I don't know. Wait, I wanted to talk more about the Brooks ones we liked.
Yeah.
T-Nag, the Firecracker. Explain what Firecracker looks like.
Well, Firecracker is a hybrid, I believe, between 2 of the king snakes.
Never mind. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know all these morphs and stuff like that.
Well, everybody.
But that's a hybrid. That's not what we're looking for.
There was another. There's some other Brooks morphs that the guy had at White Plains.
Oh, so I'll go. So like erythristic or, red.
Mm-hmm.
There's a red animal. There's a T-negative albino. There's the regular albino. We have a lavender mosaic. Mosaic is going to be a pattern mutation, and the lavender, I believe, is recessive. I don't know. If we were going to talk about this in any depth, I would want to actually. There's actually a really great site. Maybe I'll pull it up so that we can do it on the fly. But there are a lot of different mutations in. So Brooks, you'll hear people kind of flip-flop that. And
what do you mean?
So it used to be Lamberpeltis gatula. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that would be the common king snake, and that covers most of your North American king snakes. And then these were the subspecies. There was subspecies Brooksii, which are in Miami, south of Florida. And then there was Floridana, or the regular Florida king snake. I might be pronouncing that terribly wrong. And then all of a sudden they realized these are the same thing. So now they're both Floridana or Floridanae. I don't know.
Who knows?
So therefore you're going to hear them referred to both. Most people sought after the Brooks, or the more southern you can get, the better, pretty much, because they seem to have more of the whitish yellow, more of the background color. So as they get north, they're more black. As they go south, they get lighter in coloration and, are more of like the speckled pattern that we see a lot in captivity. So, and that's kind of the desired look. And I don't know if they're all Brooks kings. At the end of the day, they're all Florida kings. So, so I wouldn't be worried about breeding those together, because I'm sure that doesn't even exist anymore. I'm sure they're all.
Ryan asked if Firecracker is Theri and Pyro. Is that what he said?
No, I don't think it's Pyro. That would be crazy people.
It would work, Pyro and Fire.
Or maybe I think it may be actually Goini in Florida. So that's like double bad for us. That's the last thing we would want, because we want a Goini. How dare we get a hybrid one first? That's terrible. But there's literally, it is probably.
Is the mouse dead already?
Yeah, the mouse died. But as far as mutations go, they're probably as plentiful as almost anything else. And I'm trying to go through this website to
Brooks
find
King.
So simple recessives.
Oh, that was scary. I thought you were gonna.
So
close
there
it out.
is, of course, we have our big female hypo, and there is, I believe, 2 different types of hypo, and one of them actually reduces black, and the other one, hypomelanistic type B, is the peanut butter hypo.
Mm-hmm. That's what you said we have, right?
No,
Oh,
we
sorry,
don't
you
have the peanut
other
butter.
one.
We have the true hypo.
Oh, okay.
And the peanut butter, there's just less black and more of a yellow ground pattern. And then on the true hypo, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but there's more of like a dulled out black. There's like a grayish instead of just less black.
And then you have the lavenders,
which is also a simple
right.
recessive.
Lavenders don't do anything as much for me.
And lavender is a big thing.
Flame is what I like. Sorry.
Yeah, a big thing back in the day was breeding sulfur lavenders, which sulfur is another recessive. So it's actually hard to find just a sulfur now, apparently. Amel, or the T negative albino, it starts off this like really, really bright orange and yellow, like very creamsicle-ish type color, and then matures to a highly yellow and white animal. They're pretty cool. And then, of course, there's Anery. And I've seen there's Ghost, so it's, I guess...
There's Ghost and Brooks?
Yeah, so that would be Anery hypo. Gotcha. Or maybe there's also Xanthic. Sorry, I didn't mean to throw out Ghost before talking about it.
But no one's talking about it.
And these Xanthics, I think it is Caleb Bell who has one, and it is straight up black and white. Oh. And I think it may be like an Xanthic something else, but yeah, it looks like a California king snake if it had better pattern. Yeah, if it had more busy pattern.
Ouch.
And then Mosaic is a basically redistributing of the natural pattern, so it just kind of whacks out the pattern a little bit. And there's white-sided, of course.
Yeah.
White-sided is always cool. And
then I've been seeing some white bone Brooks.
Yeah. So those bone whites, I think that was just a line, and I guess maybe they have proven it. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, it says this morph has white cheek.
White cheek, sorry. White. But then flame, that's what I really like.
So that's kind of like the erythristic, the extreme flames and stuff like that. That's just breeding the red into them, red, and then so basically that means an enhancement of the red pigment. And I don't know if that's partly like erythristic is the morph that's responsible for the red, but I'm assuming it's lime bred from there, and that's why they call some of them flame. I don't know. I'm probably saying stupid stuff.
Everyone's like Caleb Bell.
Yeah. Check out her. She
very, very gorgeous things.
She's the queen of kings. I don't know if that's her thing still on Instagram. And then, other than the Florida king snakes.
So wait, what were you saying? The door is earlier. You said the door is closed, and you weren't sure if you were going to mention it on the podcast. I don't even know what you're talking about.
No. I mean, like another piece of the puzzle came to us.
Oh yeah, you should tell her. Tell her. Yeah. The one person who's listening, Carly. Tell her.
Yeah.
What we got, which we said, not we. You said no more snakes this year. Because
that's the one thing, like, cut off from snakes because we're appropriating our funds differently. Okay. I said I was going to do it.
But 5 months into the year, and
with Eastern Black King Snakes. So
thank you, Mike.
Who's a friend of the podcast.
Mike is a good and bad influence in your life, because now we've gotten 2 things from Mike in the last maybe 6 months.
He's helped us out a lot. But the thing is, like, some stuff is probably going back to Mike too, because yeah. So some of them will find their way back too. I'm sure. I'm sure he'll want some baby Eastern Black King snakes. So no one else cares, but there you go. We got 1.2.
I was about to say something so funny. Never mind. Not gonna say. I was gonna say Joe. Joe loves black things.
Not that funny.
Okay. But you do. And like I don't share this love with you. But you just
Eastern black king snakes. You don't share that love?
Both thing you were really trying to get your black rats, and you've talked about the
black things, yeah, are just coming. There we go. Yeah, they're just coming right in my face. I can't really avoid them.
Mike's putting them in your face.
Okay, there you go. And so I never really thought I had a like proclivity to, snakes that are predominantly black, but I happen to get some Eastern black king snakes. And it's more about because I think that the Eastern black king snake is underappreciated, and it's something that more people should be working with and more people should know. Therefore, if we get our hands on some, we reproduce them, we put them out there, we put pictures of them out there, do everything. We do the legwork in order to show people that these are cool, and then create a little market around the cheap man's. Because now people used to get Mexican black king snakes because
they were cheap.
Because indigos were too expensive.
And the MBKs were the cheap version of indigo.
Because that's your poor man's indigo. Or people bring it even further. So people got black pine snakes because indigos were too expensive, and those were black. And then exotic species started coming in, and then we got Mexican black king snakes, and everyone got Mexican black king snakes because you couldn't afford an indigo. And now some people can't afford Mexican black king snakes, so we have the Eastern black king snake.
And it also is just kind of like a perfect situation. Like, one, we're getting it from someone who's a friend. We trust them, like that's part of the puzzle is like having a good relationship with a breeder. And it was good timing season wise. They had already locked, and then they've locked again for us here. So it'll be cool to like already have babies this season. Now don't get too technical, but explain a little bit of like their breeding info in 2 minutes or less.
Well, I wanted to say
never mind, in 0 minutes or less.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I just pair them together and they're locked up.
Yeah,
I don't know if you want any.
No, but what are their clutch sizes like? What is their?
Oh, I have no idea. There's no
never mind.
You can't Google black king snake and figure it out. You have to go around asking people. And sure, I can ask Mike.
What?
I didn't say. I said, okay, Google this.
Yeah. No, you said you can't Google this, and your phone listened to you and okay, literally Googled.
Oh, come on, man. You can't be yelling at me.
Now we can make everyone else's phone. Okay, Google.
Okay, Google.
Except,
hey, Siri.
It never works for us. When I try to do okay, Google on your phone, it never works. But remember when we posted that video or that thing, everyone was saying it was doing it on theirs. But thank you, Google, for telling us about king snakes.
All right, stop saying Google here.
So you can't look up Eastern black king snakes.
No, and I try to I have field guides and stuff like that, but those typically don't get into clutch size, and I'm sure I could figure it out, and I can, like I said, I can ask Mike, but I just
gonna see what happens.
I just figure it's probably around 5 to 8 or something, and we'll see if they show up. Yeah, it's a smaller snake. There's larger eggs. So, I mean, I could be so fucking off. And I'm saying this just as like someone who doesn't get their snakes big. So maybe they do have a much larger range as far as babies. But I don't know. It could be in for more than I expect. But I just looked up a lot of information on the species. I didn't even care about the breeding because I did not ever expect to be breeding them this season, let alone. I mean, I thought I was going to grow up the baby female that I have now. She's, almost a yearling now. And so I was going to breed her up. And then in 2 to 3 years, I'd find a male. And then I'd worry about all that stuff. But I had the opportunity to purchase the project from Mike. And it's just one of those things that I always wondered how people like got projects before I ever heard of them and stuff like that. And like, you just got to hang out enough and talk to enough people. And then when people realize that you really, really enjoy something that they have,
they'll share the knowledge.
Sometimes, they may help you out every once in a while. And that's just the way it goes. And that's just, I mean, if your thing is ball pythons and you really, really like ball pythons, I don't know if someone's just going to give you one. But if you really, really like scrub pythons and people are really scrambling to try to figure out how to breed them, or just trying to, get as many out there, someone has an adult female, you have a random male, they're probably open to doing a joint project or something like that. Or someone has babies, you're first on the list before someone who, if you have a female, you're higher on the list than someone that doesn't have any at all. So I'm sure someone would help you out that way. It's just, when you get down to that level, people help you out more because they know that you're going to continue the project. I mean, for a lot of us, the most important thing is that our projects live on, and the species that we're working with live on, because without one person, without someone breeding a Moluccan scrub python, all of a sudden, someone decides that it's unlawful to import them, then that's it,
Then
you're
you're
Someone's
right.
got
You're
to
stuck
produce
with
them.
what's left here.
So you guys better help out each other to make sure that this continues, that the hobby at all will be able to have these animals. And that just happened with dunce pythons.
I don't
They
even know what that
just
is.
bred dunce pythons in captivity, and it was, I believe, Ryan Young. I really want to look that up because I would feel bad if I didn't credit it correctly.
Someone will tell you.
Okay, so I'll get to that later. But so Liasis dunni, I believe, is the Latin name. It was an animal that was pretty much out of the hobby. It was one of those things that was imported heavily at one point. So they were sold at a very cheap price. And since they were sold at that cheap price, no one really said, like, hey, let's hold on to this and breed it. That may be a good idea. And then all of a sudden,
they were gone.
And guess what? Someone tracked down a 22-year-old female, I think the number is.
Whoa.
22-year-old female, and somehow found a male from someone. And I think it was actually two people who found two separate animals, and then they traded to.
And then they found each other.
Together. Yeah. So I think, and I'm sure Owen and Eric have already covered this in a much better manner because that is kind of their corner for sure. But yeah, so he put them together, and somehow the 22-year-old female had a clutch, and they have U.S. captive born and bred dunni. Probably, there's probably a handful that have happened ever, but it's certainly the first one that's happened probably in the last like 10 years. So it's kind of a huge thing. So Brandon said it was a 25-plus-year-old female. I thought she was 22, but so it was KJ's female and Ryan's male. So it was Ryan Young. And I mean, that's just,
what do they look like?
They rekindled. It looks like an olive python.
Oh, okay.
All the Liasis are patternless like that, and this one just happens to be grayish too, and they pretty much look the same. I'm gonna be honest. But
do they get to the same size as olive?
Different. I'm not 100% sure. Very, very similar though. Maybe a little bit smaller. Someone help me out here. I don't want to say anything.
Wrong.
But they get up there. They're Liasis, but they're bigger than the water pythons.
It's so cool that someone was able to, track down this person and that person. And that
it was it was the hobby deciding, like a few breeders deciding, hey, we're gonna make it back. And I know Nick Mutton has done that as well. Tried to get the animals, so that might be a separate effort. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but
that just shows you like how much networking, and not just
how important,
and not just networking, to sell your snakes. It's networking to know these people.
But if it's dunce pythons, you're saying, oh, I heard this guy say that once, that he was somewhat interested. So you only have to go through one guy, and then you're all of a sudden, because you're both interested in that one thing, you're close all of a sudden, like you're on the same team.
But that's why, it's important in this hobby. There's not tons. I mean, it feels like there's tons of us, but compared to the world population, there's not tons of us. So we need to share our interests and our ideas
and our resources
we need to share it with everyone, because that's how we grow, and that's how you find maybe the striped coin eye that you've been looking for 6 months. By networking and talking to people. And it just, I hope everyone acknowledges that. And I think a lot of people do. But it's sad when like you can't connect with the person in the snake world, to me.
And I think that is like, that's something that the rare like Python guys have figured out a lot more than other people, because
they're so tight.
Yeah. And they're scrappy about how they get shit done.
And some of like the GTP guys are just like, so, you know, they talk so much and everything and share all these things. But like,
Yeah.
I feel like corns, it's like almost impossible for it to ever happen just because there's
because
so
there's like
many
30 of you, or there's, I mean, more than that. But even if you said, here's the top 30, and then at some point someone's gonna fight, because at the end of the day, like, you're probably somewhat competitive. You all think,
right.
and that goes for everyone. You all think your projects are great. You all think the animals you produce are great. You all think that you may do it better than someone or not someone, or, you know, and people are just going to fight no matter what. But and then there's commerce involved.
And then they're going to be like, no, I can't share this because, right.
Because
so
he's getting an edge up, because there's commerce involved in those. There's people that are buying and selling. When it comes to the Dunn's python, you're going to sell them at the end of the day.
But there's not that.
And they're going to be expensive.
There's not already that competition, you know, like laid foundation of competition like there is in
you're like,
world.
If we do this together, they're going to sell out immediately. That doesn't even have anything to do with it. And plus, we're going to revamp the species. So it's like,
there's that excitement of like, oh my gosh, like this is something that excitement overweighs, I think, the commerce or the competition with stuff like the Dunai, you know. And I hope more things like that happen. Like, I just think that kind of like gives a little positive kick to this snake world. Like, oh my gosh, like this is like something new.
We can actually change the course of our hobby if we try hard enough. Like, we can make things popular and unpopular. It's crazy how, like, you see someone is successful with, I mean, 1 year, you know, scrubs don't mean anything. Another year, all of a sudden anyone would do anything to get, you know, a scrub python or something like that. Like, things that were heavily imported, that, like we said before, and it just goes up and down so much. And what we need to make sure is that just nothing gets so down that it's unsalvageable.
That is so right. That's just almost to oblivion, you know, like that. I think we need a little bit of,
and apparently all that takes is two.
Right. We need someone doing, I can't phrase my words. Someone needs to be doing at least, I can't.
We need a stud book.
I can't.
3,000.
Someone needs to be working with, every snake needs to be worked with by at least someone. That is what I was trying to say. And now, obviously, not every snake. Right. Not, you know, but like, it should never go into complete oblivion.
And keep in mind, Duns are hard to breed. That's part of why they weren't bred a lot. They're hard to breed, and they got this
25-year-old.
So that's what makes it even more amazing. But yeah, we need more things to be appreciated, and we're seeing that happen with the hobby, with the ball python market. I mean, there's still a market there. It's really not anything to like poo-poo about. I mean, those guys still do well, like the few that are still hanging out, but people are just interested in more lately. They're just saying, you know, what other species are there out there, instead of what other morph is.
What also, like, what, instead of saying like what is not being, you know, what's already out there that's not being given its due diligence, more than what new can we find, you know?
Yeah, and that's really what it's about, is like putting all your effort into a certain project, a certain species, and that's part of, I guess we will transition. It is part of why we're trying to keep our numbers down and be very intentional with what we do, because we don't want to be someone who turns out thousands of snakes, because that's how you make money with the animals that we work with for the most part. This isn't the rare pythons where our snakes are worth a lot of money. They're not worth a lot of money. And if you're looking to make money on them, you better produce in the thousands.
Yeah, but then we get our rare little ones like the Easterns, which didn't you say
but we'll stay like boutique level as far as we take more attention into our animals. You know, it's not just, obviously we just don't have all random wholesale animals just produce numbers and numbers and numbers. And that's how I felt the King project was, which is why we're out of it. And it's like, if I ever wanted to be like that, like, don't do it at all. But so that's why we've decided to stop investing money in snakes and start doing it in other things. So we're doing it. Part of what we're trying to do is do a breeding colony of rodents so that we can pay for our collection, and that will help us by taking the profits that we make this year and redistributing them into our rodent production. We can lessen, obviously, the money that we're going to spend next spring when it comes around to breed again. So we won't be in the same predicament. And hopefully throughout the year, we'll be spending less money because we're raising our own rodents.
Mhm.
So, and then eventually, I want that to be a source of income because I don't want to always be selling snakes for
You
our
don't.
money.
Well, you just don't want to be dependent on the snakes. Like,
Right. Because, and then, if I have a bill to pay and then someone the other day offered me like $275 shipped for a snake, and it was up for $275 plus shipping. And someone who had to make money and knew that there would be a sale, maybe I would have said yes to that. But since I was like, chill, man, this is an animal. Like, don't, I'm not going to discount it. At that point, it'd probably be $60 across the country. Just the animal deserves more than that. You deserve to care more about the animal than
and even an
to
animal,
always be
you're
looking for a
selling.
deal, to wheel and deal it, so, and there's nothing wrong with that, to be honest. It's more of my personal, my personal beliefs, and it's hard for me to go about doing that, and I may be an idiot, but
No, because I I think it's worth the price we had it set at.
oh yeah, plus that animal was well worth it.
Okay, I have a question backing up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yesterday when we were talking, you said that only 5 people are breeding, or just 5 people have Easterns, or 5 people
No,
are
I have
breeding
no
them?
idea who's breeding
Oh,
Easterns.
where's that 5 number you told me? That was
Off of
just
who I can see online, other people.
okay. I'd be
Yeah.
interested to know like how many people
There's
are.
probably a decent amount. It's just trying to find them would be half impossible. But
I mean, I've never seen them at shows, or I feel like they're not
no.
widely online. If they're online, they're not, widely popping up
But
a
I'm sure
lot.
if you go to Kentucky or something, you'll see a bunch hanging out. But anyway, trying to put our money into the feeders so that eventually that can give us some income. And then we're looking at other avenues. So if people don't know, like, we sell springtails now
Mm-hmm.
on our website, and trying to kind of create a different avenues for us to make money, that because we still want to be in reptiles, we want to do everything we can. We want to keep our collection at a manageable size, a good crack there, puberty, and produce, if it ends up being 500 animals at one point, it better be like the best 500 animals.
And I don't want our love for it to ever fall below the
Yes.
dependency of money for it.
And I can see the amount of work that I put in now. If I was putting in that work, twofold, threefold, 10,000 animals fold. I don't know how many folds that is. It's a lot of folds, but I don't even want to know. That would probably run me into the ground. But with doing the supplies and everything like that, I enjoy doing that. And I enjoy, we've been shipping out just a few springtails, here and there, especially moving through eBay and stuff like that. And it's fun to do. It's fun to try out different things. And we're going to eventually, I mean, right now I'm going to do the simple things. I'm going to do the things that we can make money at in the short term. And it seems like everyone that we have met, everyone that we've talked to, everyone who has supply and everything like that, or have made supply businesses, who own supply businesses, like in the reptile hobby, like, you're, for the most part, you're just going cheaper than the other person. People care about price a lot in this industry compared to other places. It's hard to sell like a very, very high-end product, because though we all care about our snakes and everything like that, at the end of the day, it's the snakes that you're spending the money on. It's not exactly the supplies. But So we're going to have to start like at the ground level, the things that you can still make money on and still be really, really cheap. So that's how we're going to try to at least build just a little bit of rapport with, because obviously we breed corn snakes now. So our customers are corn snake people. We're selling springtails. Those are dart frog people. Those are other sectors of the reptile industry. So we've got to get our name out to those people. And guess what? The one thing Josh from Josh's Frogs said that he would do differently is not call it Josh's Frogs, but I think we're going to stick with Port City Pythons. And so he's like, because he didn't want to corner himself into frogs. And now we're already fucked with pythons because we do corn snakes. But I think we're going to stick with Port City Pythons, even with this business. And just, you guys are going to have to recognize the name eventually.
Port City everything.
I don't know. Yeah, we're just... And I don't know. I want to keep it centralized in a sense because this is everything we're about.
It's all us. It's not, it's not like it's different people doing the snakes or the other reptile related things.
Like Port City Pythons is doing the podcast, the YouTube channel, the Instagram, the supplies, the feeders,
it's all us.
Corn snakes.
And some probably like marketing or business person would probably be like, that's dumb. Like, don't do that. But it's just like,
if we can do all of those the best. And
still be us
and still do this thing, just make it out there and be able to do what we want. That is like, and
I think it just
it will just work out.
Diversifying ourselves will bring us closer. Like, I mean, at least my goal eventually, like as much as I love teaching and everything, I think I would like to stop teaching one day and be able to do this full time with you. But just doing with our desire to keep our collection relatively small, if we just did snakes, it would be so long until we got to the point where, we wouldn't need two incomes or, you know what I mean? Like
we would never make it.
It would be nearly impossible. Yeah. And I think that's why so many people end up getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Because
you have to.
I mean, at the end of the day, like this whole podcast has been about like money and love. And
it's much easier to make money as a factory farmer than to make money, with open pasture, all this stuff. I mean, we're raising free range chickens, not factory farm chickens, and for us to keep on doing it this way. But then we're selling
rakes and shovels and whatever, other stuff to compensate. And so,
because the whole time, what you always have to think is that. And this is something that's said throughout business a lot, is that in the gold rush, the people who made the money, it wasn't the people who struck gold. I mean, there was a few individuals who made a lot of money, but the people who made out the best were usually the ones who were selling the picks. They were selling the supplies that were making, that they sold to these guys to find gold. So therefore, we need to supply the picks. We need to supply the different types of supplies that allow you to do your job, to produce those pythons, to fuel the people who are willing to produce 1,000 animals a year, 2,000 animals a year, all those animals, as well as, the pet owner and the everyday keeper. So how can we just service you guys as far as the reptile keepers and breeders alike? So that will be fun to figure out. And that's kind of our idea of how we're going to get started. You're going to see it's not going to happen very fast. We're going to start at a very, very, very low level and slowly work our way up. But you may see us be a bit more intentional about everything that we do. I want to take this, as serious as I can, because I felt like for the last year or so, we've been having a lot of fun with it, but we haven't been very intentional with our business. And I think we could be a little bit more intentional on the business side of things and then not get in the way of our morals either. And there's the FedEx guy to pick up our packages. Just give them to him. He should be able to scan them. So we had some animals coming out and we weren't able to basically go up. But Ryan mentioned, so you're going to start from the ground up, and this podcast was originally called From the Ground Up because it was the story of us starting our reptile business. And therefore, this podcast right now is maybe more so in that vein. And we want to keep on doing that going forward, but also giving you the same great podcast that you enjoyed in the past as far as talking to other folks. We're going to be doing that just as much, if not, more in the future. But we also want to keep you in on what's going on over here and being able to get our stuff out there. And one of my big kind of qualms with doing all this, and it's another thing. You took them all?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
well,
I only took one out.
Well, no, because we said 2 on the thing, and we ended up having to send out 3. So.
Oh, she didn't say anything about it.
Yeah. So what I felt, what was I saying? I don't know. You messed me up.
Sorry, totally threw you off.
Yeah. But we're trying to branch out basically and figure out new things. And doing that, we're going to still do everything normal, really.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. He's clearly the brains of it, but you're really good at finding like different ways to, provide things to customers and everything, and things that might already be out there, but they could be more. Like, can you ever have too many springtails? I don't know. Like,
I mean, there's going to be a point where I'm going to have to do it cheaper for a little while, and I'm not going to do it like to degrade our products or anything, because we're going to do a lot more for less. The springtails, they're going to be packed up in there. I mean, I'm just, because they don't cost anything for us to produce, why not give the people more? Fuck it.
Give the people more.
Give the people more. But yeah, we're just trying to do the best we can to try to win some market share, as they say, and get some people to see us as a supply company just as much as we are corn snake people, just as much as we are podcast people, just as much as we are blah, 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 blah. And I need to stop doing as much things as myself, which Ryan was talking about, media and stuff like that. I do way too much like editing and stuff like that, and
right, like
I spend so much time on media instead of worrying about the business.
He could make money doing snake stuff,
if I focused more on the business, we would have been able to we'd be doing a lot better, and we may have less followers, but really, what does that matter? But we can still, we're still gonna do all that stuff. So
I thought you were talking about something different. Never mind.
No, what?
I thought you were saying, like, if you hadn't pursued your current job of editing people's podcasts, and if you had pursued making, diversifying the business earlier, you're talking about focusing.
Yes, well, I would have done that,
media.
But that's kind of too little, too late. So that's part of it too. Is that I have, previous to this, I freelance editing video and editing podcasts, and I ended up losing a bunch of clients. And then I was like, do I have the will to just do sales forever and try to get new clients? And then at the same time, I'm doing the editing and I'm doing that. If I went back and I wanted to build that company, which I should have done separately, I would have hired a yeah, we're not very focused.
It's funny that you read
I would have hired someone to do
comment.
sales, or someone separate from me, not do all the work and do the sales, because at the end of the day, I didn't have the energy to do the sales because I was doing all the work, and I lost a couple of clients, and I was like, screw it, I'm not going to do it anymore. I want to focus on Port City Pythons and run it as a business and see what we can do, because the only thing that I'm trying to put all of my effort in, the only thing that I can physically put all my effort into is this, because this is the only thing that I like to do. It's literally the only thing I want to do. So I'm going to put all my effort into it, because what else is there to do? I'm pretty screwed without, putting all my effort into it, and then I'm just stuck doing something I don't like. So therefore, we're going to do our best this year.
Okay, let's talk about happy things. Some questions. Carly asked how the olive is doing.
Olive's doing great. We need to build a.
That's another thing.
I need to build a giant enclosure.
He wants to build a rat rack. He wants to build. Wait, I want to talk about that. We probably should have this conversation off air.
Please don't.
Okay, then, but you do want to build the olive thing. But the olive's doing fine, yeah. And then someone asked about the het palmettos.
The het palmettos have bred. The female has had her pre-lay shed.
it's crazy because the het palmettos only locked once, and we were like,
and they absolutely hated each other for most of the year.
Right. I mean, literally after they locked, it was like jumping at the tub again, like hated each other. I don't know how we even got that one lock. It was just like perfect, weird moon aligning, whatever. But she had her pre-lay shed. It looks like there's eggs in there. So I think it's going to be good.
Yeah. And it is. I didn't expect it to happen because they really, really
hated each other so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the male, you put him in there and he flew out of the enclosure. And we said this on the podcast like a million times before, but we're further along in the process, and we are excited to potentially produce palmettos. I just want to see eggs on the ground. I want to make sure they're fertile because he only locked once, so you really don't know.
Right, we don't know until we see eggs.
And this was probably, that was the mark of us starting all of this. Really, another crack. That was me. That was the most I spent on an animal. Well, now I spent more on a ball python, but that didn't end as well as hopefully this one does.
What did you spend on the olive?
No, yeah, it was $400.
You spent less on the olive than the palmettos?
Palmettos were $1,000 or $1,200 for the pair.
I'm so glad I didn't know you back then, because we'd be having some issues.
Yeah, I bought a ball python for $1,000 before, and that's nothing compared to these guys drop on ball pythons all the time. But so that's chump change, chump level shit. But what was I talking about?
The palmettos, you didn't think it would happen.
Yeah, so that was like one of the first videos we put up on our YouTube channel. And so that was really how everything got started. And that was our first project that people are going to see from beginning to end. That's not when we started Port City Pythons, but that's when we started out in the public of things. And it's like people get to see the baby, on camera, or they're like, all of a sudden we're going to post a video of the clutch and baby's coming out. And we're going to be like, remember when we posted these, when we first got these? So it's like our first iteration of animals coming through and producing that people saw us unboxing. I mean, people saw them come out of the box, and now 3 years later, we're going to have babies. How crazy is that?
Wait, so I was around. You had bought them before we started dating.
No, I bought them while we were dating. You just weren't that involved. You never asked me about, it wasn't at the point where you would be like, what are you spending? Like, people who are together for 3 months or something do not ask what you're spending each other's money on.
That makes sense why I didn't know. That would have been crazy.
Yeah.
I remember. Okay. That's funny though. Yeah, it was just very early. So I didn't know you were just early in our relationship. Shoot.
But that was when we were in Dallas in the apartment with Ryan, and we got these things. We were first building up like the higher end.
Was that the FedEx video that we made?
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's one of the benefits of like showing ourselves to the world. One of the pictures Joe posted on Instagram recently was like one of our babies from last year. And it's so nice to have such like a chronological view of all the things we've been working towards and all the effort we've been putting in. And, we do this for you guys to see, but it's also like a nice thing for us to be able to go and look back how far we've come and what we've learned. Also, Joe, apologize, you guys. He did not close the bathroom while he's peeing. Can definitely hear it on the mics. But yeah, it's just nice, like, for us to have pictures and have videos to go back. And like Joe said, this is our first one, like, full circle video. And we want to have more, and it's really fun. And it's like, I remember last year, the first video I think that I like really heavily edited was one of the egg videos. And it's like, it's been almost a year since I made that. I'm like, that's really cool. And I don't know. It's just nice to grow and learn and have documentation of our growing.
I wish we had saved every picture. And I was like, there's no reason why I'll need pictures in the future, because
but it's on Instagram. So we don't need it.
Yeah, because it's on Instagram. But it's like, you don't understand the amount of like B-sides that going back at it now, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. And it's like, oh my God, I need to keep on doing this. I need to keep on archiving them because like, imagine 10 years from now, how amazing will it be then? It will be a lot cooler then. And I'll be like, you remember this? And it is, it's just a little representation of where we were at the time. And every picture has a story behind it. And I don't remember things unless I look back
there's
on
a
them.
picture at it. Totally. It's oh God, I have a total anecdote. Never mind.
Oh God, is it like an old lady saying go?
No, but it's like that's old people always get mad at young people at concerts for like filming it or taking pictures and like just experience it. And I'm like, yeah, but you kind of forget it. But when you have that video,
need one thing though.
when you have that video, it's like, oh my God, like. Yeah, I always get annoyed when people get mad at.
You don't need to film the whole
thing. No.
Film a video so that it's somewhere, and then you go through and you're like, oh yeah, remember that? That was fun. And why do humans like to do that? I don't know.
Because we like being able, just like we were talking about.
Because we're so self-important that we need to look
that our brains are not awesome. Not everyone's brain has a great memory. Everyone doesn't have a great memory, and you want to go back and look at it. But yes, I do agree. The whole concert's ridiculous. And I get mad at my friends who do it while I'm going through stories and I'm just having to click because they did the whole freaking concert. But one song or two songs.
Or like your favorite really song. Nice. It just happens. But save it after. But those people are just posting on social. That's really to show off.
You can save it. But like, I mean, that's our generation but no, never mind. I take that back. Old generations did that just in a different form of like, click, you print it out. Those ones.
Wow. People are going to have a field
Not
day
printed out.
Bloop, 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 bloop. How does that technology work?
The cameras, the Polaroids.
You remember in high school, did you have to develop your own photos?
No, it's called Walgreens.
Okay. So we did photo class.
No, we didn't have photo class. Oh, did you have like the red room?
Yeah, we had to do in the dark room and everything like that.
Creepy. I feel like all those teachers are creepy.
I feel like
things went down in the high schools of the red rooms.
Probably.
You don't think so? Come on.
Oh yeah. No. I mean, kids are kids, man.
Something went down in that room. We did not have that.
Kids are kids.
We had it we did. But I went to an art school, so like you had to like choose that as your like path in high school. If you like did photography,
because you know exactly what you want to do at 14.
That's not exactly forever. It's your path for high school. So it was nice because whatever you chose, you got to get like really. It wasn't like you just did a little bit of everything. You got to get really, really deep. So like my path was stagecraft. So I did stagecraft.
Your witchcraft?
Yeah, witchcraft. I'm a witch. Join my coven.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Shut up. Okay.
Please don't go deeper into this.
I'm stopping.
I was like, I hope you're changing subject, but I was hoping you're gonna bring us somewhere.
Where were we before? I don't know where we were before. Bring it back. Shoot. Photos. Oh, archiving. I think it is a natural human thing to want to have a physical memory of something. Yeah. Obviously, back in the olden days, they couldn't do that. But hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics are we physical memory of. You want that. It's natural to want that thing.
But is it super narcissistic? Potentially.
It's not about you. It's about the experience.
Yeah, I guess so.
It is all because you're not in it most of the time. You're filming sometimes, but yeah, it's like you want our brains.
It's more for like everything. I want to know if someone asks, I want to be able to post on Insta Robot, whatever we have in 10 years. And
Insta Robot.
That was a really bad creative decision. I couldn't think of a better name to put up our pictures.
Smart house.
Then I want to say hey, this is when we hatched out our first sulfur in 2016. This is the first animal that started the pair, and she's gone, but she kind of parented this whole line of animals and stuff like that. And you get to think back on the animals that you've had and the projects that you're going back and forth on and everything like that. So it's really fun. And We are going to, I think I went through my roll and there's 10,000 pictures in a year. So that's how
Whoa.
many pictures I take. And those aren't all. I mean, I delete a lot of the throwaways, but that's still a good amount of pictures. So,
Guess we
and
could
I
get
want
like
to
a
keep on
hard
doing that.
drive
No, yeah, we
dedicated
need
to
to
it.
have an actual hard drive.
We have a hard drive that keeps all your video
But
stuff.
I need to get a way to get it from my phone, and my phone takes micro SD, so we're gonna have to figure that out.
I think they have ones like with slots. I could be making.
Wow. Okay. Good thought of the day. The ones with slots. Yeah. The phone has a slot for one, and then the computer has a slot for one. How can you simultaneously make yourself look so old and so young at the same time? You didn't know anything about producing a photograph.
Shut up. Shut up.
Jeez.
Okay. More snake stuff.
So we are trying to.
We're gonna try to change it
archive it. Well, no, but we're trying to archive what we're doing now. We're trying to always document what we do. So every time we do something, we're trying to document it. I mean, we say it's for you guys, but we can look back one day and be like, this podcast, we were talking about starting this or starting that. And then we can look back and be like, oh, damn, they actually did it. Or hopefully someone can someday look back at us and be like, oh, damn, they actually did it. Because that's a lot cooler than us.
Saying it about ourselves. That's narcissistic.
Because that's the narcissistic part.
But I think people are already, I mean, this might be narcissistic to even say this. I feel like a couple of times people who have started listening to this podcast have gone back and like listened to the beginning ones and like, oh my gosh, it's so different. Which is so funny to me. Unless you listen
to this one today and then you're like, oh, they're falling off.
It doesn't feel that different. So it's funny to hear people be like, oh, like, you know.
It has always felt just the podcast itself has always felt
it's fun. The same, right? It's always been fun, but I know I've learned more, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Okay, jerk face.
No, that's good. Why would you feel bad about that?
I thought because you're like.
No, like. You literally didn't.
But I don't feel like I'm nothing. Any. It's weird. I feel like at the same time, I don't feel like I'm any different. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like I know I've learned more, but I feel like I'm the same person doing this podcast. But everyone's like, "Wow, it's so different."
You're still going to be the person who brings us down in like a way that. No, that's not. Brings us to meaning like.
I know what you're talking about.
Like me and someone else can talk above someone's head. And then you can bring that down and be like, and ask the questions that people are probably wondering. So like, if I just did it by myself, I may ramble. And then the other person, if they feed into it, we may just ramble about shit that no one's interested in, or is just too over some people's heads. And we want to be able to have a large amount of people listening to this and understand it. So it's nice to have someone who'd be like, what the hell is maternal incubation or something like that?
I know what that is.
I know. There's an example.
Yes, thank you.
But, you know, sometimes those things need explaining for people that don't know.
Yes.
So, and by the way, corn snakes do not incubate their own eggs. So stop asking me if I separate the eggs from the moms, people.
I didn't know if people have been asking you that.
Oh, yeah. And then they feel bad about it. It's like corn snakes don't incubate their eggs anyway. They leave them in the wild.
Half the time they're gone by out of the lay box and gone by the time we go get the eggs. They don't even care.
That Brooks King is fuck you immediately for those eggs. I felt so bad for her because she was moving around so much. She was obviously very, very uncomfortable. And how that usually, I haven't seen it manifest exactly in that restlessness that she had. But it's kind of like a pregnant girl walking the halls, I guess, to get it going. But she was just like running around her enclosure, just all over the place, restless. And then so I was like, is something going on? Are they stuck, or is anything, is she egg bound? What's going on? And then she laid them this morning, and then she was in a different hide on the other side of the enclosure. So yeah, she pieced out immediately after doing it, but she also pushed over all the sphagnum moss to one side and laid them on the bare,
She's like,
plastic
I don't
tote.
care what.
She just laid it on the toe. It's like, that's what
She's
the
just like, I
sphagnum
just
was
want
for,
these
man.
out of my body, and I want to get out of here.
Yeah, and it's like I must. I think I need to break up that long strand sphagnum more. Maybe there's a better alternative. No. Wow, you just whispered that.
No one heard that. But yeah, shoot, I don't know where we were going with that. But it's why do you think it? What is it about some? I don't know how to phrase this. Like, is it a scientific thing that some?
Probably scientifical.
It's a real
Definitely. I'd
word.
go with that word.
It's a word that some maternally incubate. Is it just like they do or they don't? Or do we know the reasoning behind why some do and they don't?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if anyone knows. It's just some eggs, for whatever reason. I'm not sure what came before, but colubrid eggs are hardier. They can be left alone. They can be just left under a board for 6 weeks, and maybe it is the fact that the colubrid has a they have a faster metabolism. They have to eat. If a female maternally incubated, maybe she would have 0 chance of surviving. But also, so maybe it's survival in that sense. Or python eggs typically aren't as hardy. They typically need higher temperatures. Therefore, that female can control that temperature better. They don't do well with temperature variation. Colubrid eggs do just fine with variation. I think that's because the mother isn't on them. So I'm not sure if they exhibit all these behaviors because of, or that's just. So I don't know what comes first. Basically, I don't know if it's they wrap them because the eggs are vulnerable, or they leave them because the eggs are not vulnerable. Or
I feel like this is a Travis Feynman question. I don't know, but I don't know if it's more of a social behavior thing or a scientific thing.
Herpetological thing.
It's a herpetological thing. We've had some herpetologists. We just haven't asked this question. So
yeah,
I'll put it in my
it's
mind.
A very specific question that someone may know, like evolutionary. Maybe it has some type of. We'll get Mark O'Shea on again.
See, I feel like we always end up talking about like things we want, like found out the answer to. And this is going to sound so weird, but part of me has wished like there's like a forum out there for like graduate students who are like, gosh, what do I do for like my thesis or whatever? And I just want to give them ideas like this, like study the maternal incubation of like these 5 different species and like what's the difference and compare them and write a really long thesis. And I just want you to answer my questions, graduate students out there. So yeah.
Wow, I'm sure they'll definitely do that.
It's sad how much I've thought about that.
There's probably some legitimate conservation questions out there that can be answered.
That wasn't legitimate. I feel like maternal incubation is a legitimate thing to want to know more about.
I'm sure.
I mean, if
someone can give a better guess than I did, I'm sure, 100%.
And that's why there's people out there studying this.
Yeah, that's why I'm not a herpetologist. So do not hold me to that standard.
Oh, no one's holding you to that. That's why I said I want graduate students to find the answer.
I wish people could like. It's hard to say because people, even when you just post an Instagram Instagram picture, some people think you're an idiot and some people think you're like God and you're somewhere like closer to idiot than God. But like some people are like try to tell you what to do via their comments and you're like, all right, chill, dude.
Exactly what you're referencing.
And there are people who you look at their profile and they haven't bred before and you're like, all right, like I understand, I appreciate the input, but that's not what I see. That's not what goes on. It's just not true most of the time. Or, it's done better a certain way, and that's just from experience. So like, and then other people think that you have all the answers. And it's like, I'm not even close. And even if I did, I don't want to be responsible for giving you all the answers. There's vets out there.
Lots of people out there.
Even people who have bred longer than me. So what am I supposed to? I can't know everything.
There's people out there who
but also
know
like
all
give me
the
a little
scientific things. Sorry, I had to get that
Yes.
in there since not everyone, since you and James want me to stop mispronouncing.
No, there's pretty much everyone who wants you to
Who wants you to
mispronouncing scientific, or stop saying that, basically, not mispronouncing. Stop making up words.
Yeah, but see, that's stupid though, because half the snake names are made up. Why can you make up names, some words somewhere?
I'm not even gonna start because that's something totally like different. But okay.
Sorry, that was silly. That was a stupid statement.
That's just classifying things.
Back it up.
You know?
I didn't say it.
You gotta make up words sometimes.
You gotta make up words like sometimes.
Yes, unless you're talking about the English language. If you're talking about dead Latin, do whatever you want. Talking about the English language, you're gonna disrespect our language like that. You're a bad representation to all the international listeners, especially those of the UK who originated this language in which you're butchering right now.
Our language is nothing like theirs. They probably hate our language so much. By the way, aren't they doing a live show tonight?
I saw them post somewhere.
Because it's bank holiday in England.
I don't even know what that means, man.
I know. I tried to get info and they just said it's a random day off. But I don't.
It's European for Memorial Day.
I'm kind of sad we're missing their live show. They don't do it very often.
We fucked up, man. But this is our time. It's Mondays. Except 7 and 9.
With time difference, it may not. I never.
Oh yeah, they probably did it at like 7 a.m. this morning.
I don't remember.
You're saying like you missed it when you could have watched it, man. Look at you.
No, I don't know. But
yes. Did you have any questions?
Did I have any questions?
Yeah, about everything. Well, we also have pine. We didn't talk about Louisiana pines
because they scare me. I'm so scared for them.
Scared for them? What do you mean?
For us, for them, for us. I mean, it's like, it's funny as we keep getting like new clutches. Obviously, the expectation is that I help out more, but it's like with these, I know that, and I'm glad that you know, and you're okay with me saying like, no, I'm not helping with these. There's some things in our.
I wish you would,
but you're okay. You're right.
Yeah.
There's some things in our business relationship,
like king snakes. Those were one of those things, but they were your thing, so that's why unacceptable. Louisiana pines, that thing, but I like working with them. Acceptable. They get to stay.
When we first started dating, I was like terrified of the MBK, and I didn't want you to put it anywhere near. You don't remember that?
No, I remember you being terrified of everything. I didn't know it was MBK.
But the corns, obviously, I warmed up to first because they were the smallest in the but I remember like for something about the MBK, it just seems
just
like
so black.
Wow, it's so big and round.
And when she's on that gig,
and if you guys don't get that reference, I'm disappointed. But for something about it, like it scared me more than the olive did, which obviously the olive was a lot smaller when we started dating.
Olive, like by appearance, you're like, oh, look at this big dopey guy. But really, it's like a fucking animal, man. If you see that thing eat, you're like, gee, who made this thing? They're scary.
But for some reason, the MBK scared me. But it's like, I don't know what it was. But yeah, now I know like king snakes are not the thing that are going to scare me. But the pines, like, we're at an understanding that like, no. If we really need help, it's gonna be
that is the most important project in this whole collection.
Do you think if we called Owen, would he like come help you with it?
I don't need help. They're
something crazy. I don't know. Something crazy happened. I want to help you.
I'm sure Owen would love it. And if I die, give it.
I'll call Owen.
Yeah, you might call Owen.
If it like bit you in some like
and
weird spot, I feel like I'd call Owen.
It's not biting me. What would matter?
I don't know.
Why would it matter?
They scare me.
It's no different than any other snake I get bit by.
Really?
Yeah, they're just a lot louder and a lot crazier.
Their bark is so much bigger.
Yeah, I've only got bit by them once, but I got bit because I was like, they just bluff. They never bite. Sometimes they'll bite. Therefore, I'll let them. I mean, if it seems like if they don't want you to handle them, they don't let you handle them. But for the most part, on a good day, you get them up, you're doing your thing, you'll get mussed, but they'll be a manageable animal for you. So it's not an animal that is going to be a lap dog or your pet or anything great. I'm sure it could be a pet, but for the most part, it's just awesome to have. And not all of them act like that, by the way, but
Well, yeah, I mean, James Lewis always talks about it, but like ours, I don't think they're going to change. I think they're always going to be this way. And it's interesting because I feel like we've talked over the podcast about, I don't know if this is a word. Is docility a word?
Let's go with it.
We've talked
How docile? Docility, maybe.
We've talked about
a lot of vowels,
docility and like if it's possible to like, breed it out and everything. So, I mean, obviously this is just the sample size is one pair with this, but it'll be interesting to see how the babies are. And then at the same time, it's like, can we really make that connection to if the babies are just as docile or if they're less or more like,
well, that matters across species and across, they all have different.
People talk about breeding out the
right. I mean, how different are those palmettos than our other corn snakes?
Very different.
That is like, you wouldn't think that they're the same animal.
Right.
They're the same species. You would think
the
that
palmettos are the only ones where I am like cautious to open the tub. Everyone else, like,
and why is
not even thinking about it.
And they're not bitey, they're just flighty. And why are they flighty? It's because the palmetto itself, the original male, wild caught, this animal was created from a het palmetto from that original pairing. So therefore, we have an F1 animal, het palmetto, that went to another het palmetto, first generation wild caught animal that eventually went back next generation to a wild caught animal. So you had an F2-ish and then back to a wild caught animal. So you're working with pretty wild blood in comparison to the other corn snakes that have, for the most part, captive bred for the last 20, 25 years. There's a fine difference between those animals and the het palmettos just from behavior alone, just from our hats. Mm-hmm. Now we have the palmettos come out. They'll probably be more calm, more close to our other corn snakes than the het palmettos. And we'll see how fast that happens. It happens pretty fast for corns, it seems, as far as the amount of animals you have to get in to see that. But if you're talking about scrubs, if you breed them 10 times over,
they're still,
maybe that's their natural behavior. Maybe they're just like that.
So it's some little bit of nature, some little bit of nurture.
Yeah. Because naturally, the corn snakes aren't bitey, they're just flighty. Well, they will bite, but for the most part, they're more flighty than bitey. And they're not that bitey even to start with. So therefore, they're easier.
I just wish they would be flighty towards the back of their tub and not at me.
Yeah, it's weird because they do. It's an instinct to run, right?
But run
most
towards
of the time,
me.
And most of the time it's because we tip up the top or something, and they see the opening, and they just want to get out of the way of whatever's going on. So they go, and it just happens to be right at our faces.
Right. All the other flighty ones just like zip to the back or, zip under their hide.
A lot of snakes, you go in to like clean them, or you open up the tub, and they move back immediately. They're like, all right, I see the guys here. Let's go to where we go. And typically they go in their little hide, and you get to do your business if you're spot cleaning and stuff like
but
that.
The palmettos are like, ha!
They're like, yeah, let's get the fuck out of here. And it's usually right towards your face. Because, I mean, they're not that smart at making those quick decisions like that.
So that'll also be interesting to see what those babies are like. And, we've talked about this before, the bug-eyedness of it. Like, we know that our two palmettos, our het palmettos,
We know that our het palmettos are the most variable blood, have the biggest variety of gene pool of any of the ones that are being bred at the moment, from my knowledge. That's just from my knowledge. And it's because it's early on, and the guy I got them from was breeding them to wild caughts. But it's important because that bug-eyedness, some people say that it is, lack of genetic diversity. If we just breed more animals into it, they will start not having bug eyes, stuff like that. But I don't know if that is the case. It probably isn't the case. It's more of a factor of how the morph works, which is what Dr. Travis Wyman explained on one of our first episodes. Isn't that crazy? The first episodes with a guest.
He was that long ago?
He was our first guest, I think.
No.
Or not in-person guest. He was our first, like, over-the-internet guest.
What?
Yeah.
No, because we did him in East Dallas when we had
Yes.
we didn't have any guests in the colony.
No. We had 0 guests. All the ones that came over were in East Dallas.
No, but any over the internet
No.
guests. We had no guests at all in the
No.
colony.
No, we did like 50
Oh.
episodes, just us.
Travis probably thought we were I was so dumb.
No, I was dumb too.
But
and we sucked at podcasting, dude. We probably did so bad. Feel bad.
But we couldn't have done still bad. We couldn't have done that bad. He still talks to us and texts you and everything. And
yeah, he doesn't think I'm a complete idiot, which is good.
We do have to apologize to his daughter.
Why?
But he should have known better.
Oh yeah.
He should have known better. Anyone who listens to our podcast a lot knows that this is not PG-13. But
especially if you are with the Herpetic Culture podcast.
Oh yeah, that's the one he was listening to.
Which we were just having a grand old time.
And Travis slipped up and
he
slipped up and listened to it with his daughter, which he should have known better. No. And some interesting adult terms were used in that podcast.
Adult terms. I forget what the actual thing was. But
something with a male.
Pretty ridiculous. Probably male genitalia.
Yeah, something with male genitalia.
We can say that because this is science. It's scientific. So we can say genitalia, and that's all right. That's not a curse. It's not
He probably cringes every time I say scientifical.
Yeah, everyone does.
Not everyone, but most people probably.
Yeah, but that was.
But it was. God, we've come so far. Yes and no, Brandon asked us if we're going to do a part 2 Mark O'Shea.
I would love to. We just need to give space. We have more mountains to climb in a sense of guests that we can have on.
More mountains. I still feel like I'm too dumb for Mark O'Shea though. Like if we got him on again, I would have it just be you again.
And the thing is, I was fairly confident going into the interview. Most of them, well, I'm never really nervous for a show or anything like that.
Really?
I was close with Mark O'Shea, but I kept it together. No, maybe for a second, and then all right, man, it's really not that big of a deal. Let's do it.
I'm always nervous.
Really? And I mean, maybe I should be just a little bit nervous.
It's working fine. You're not being nervous. Don't change anything.
I did probably the only ones that I did feel a little bit weird about were somewhat recently, like if I was having a really bad day or wasn't exactly pumped with how my day went, or because recently there's been so much stuff going on and so stressful. So then maybe I was nervous just because I was like, can I get as excited and have my brain work correctly today?
I'm sorry. James Lewis is cracking me up today. We talk about how far we've come. He's like, I got to point out that your equipment's held together with tape.
Yeah, we are using duct tape. This is part of that reinvestment money that's going into rodents is probably not going to go into equipment. We'll probably use black electrical tape in the future if we decide to live our best lives. We should
get some zip ties.
Oh, we do have zip ties. So we'll come back Lewis, living our best life.
Next week, there will be black zip ties instead of bright ass blue.
Yeah, maybe blue is a bad color, but we had to do it quickly, and that's what goes on. So yeah, sometimes, but it really doesn't matter what equipment you use as long as you're getting them out there consistently, which we failed to do on Monday of Easter after Easter. But how dare we?
Yeah. Live in the moment.
Forget the past.
Forget the past.
You're bringing up all these past things.
Well, that's what ends up happening when it's just us. It's always a reflection, but a reflection mixed with looking to the future. This is y'all's. Oh, y'all's. Sorry.
Oh, y'all's.
I was proud of my southernness.
Speaking of improper English, we go on.
Stop. James Lewis will support me on that one. He's calling me out for all other ones, but he'll support me on y'all. Except a lot of, you know what?
But not y'all.
I was about to say, there's a debate in the South. Okay, some people are okay with y'all, but they are not okay with y'all's. Which I'm like, if you use one, you gotta use the other. But shoot.
Both incorrect, but go ahead.
I have no idea where I was going with that. What was I talking about?
Okay. So we were talking about the past, all that stuff. Podcast with just us.
This is y'all's look into, you know, the conversations we have just normally on the couch about what we want to do with our business. And I mean, I don't know if people want to know about it, but I think if I, you know, if I was like a fashion designer, I wouldn't listen to like Diane von Furstenberg talking about like how.
Wait, what?
Sorry. Louis Vuitton talking about how the business got started and all the things they, you know, your inner.
That's the CEO of Costco, or who's a Rochambeau, or whoever you just fucking said. All right, come back to me. What did you?
Oh my god, just
Michelle Rauschenberg? Who the fuck is that?
Diane von Furstenberg. DVF. Girls will know it, and maybe some boys.
What the fuck are you talking about? Okay, how about you just say like Steve Jobs or something? Okay, let's fucking.
There you go, Steve Jobs. I want to know, like, when Steve Jobs was in that garage that he was like starting it, like, what was he like thinking about? You know, not just what he did, but what was he thinking about? And even though I don't like podcasts and I don't listen to them, I think people like them because they get to know what people are thinking about. You know, on TV and music or whatever, you don't get to know what people are thinking about necessarily. But on podcasts, that's where you.
Well, no, we get to document it in a little bit more depth. And yeah, it gives you that factor of looking back and saying, you know, if they did it, we can do it. And there is no direct path. So it's not like, it's weird because I've tried to do it with reptiles, and that's a large part of learning what to do is looking what is working for other people and what has worked in the past and reading the market and stuff like that. That's stuff that you have to do on your own. Like, you can't just listen to us and be like, oh, so this is how you start it. And we probably haven't gone in enough detail about that. And plus, everyone's path is different. Everyone's attention's different as far as what they're into and stuff like that. So there is no direct path for you, but just know that if you keep on following your path, it's possible and you can be successful. And I'm saying that like it's already happened, but it hasn't.
Okay,
but I'm
Mr. Life Coach.
Since we're in the future where everything's great, because if it wasn't, we wouldn't have any hope to do what we're about to do. But we believe in ourselves for some stupid reasons. So therefore, you can listen to this either when we're down in flames and you can be like, I knew no one could ever do it. Or hopefully we're
Jesus. Let's not. I hope we never go down in flames.
But then we'll rise like a phoenix.
Flame Brooks. Oh, you like that?
You really flamed me. Really on fire with the jokes. So it's just something that, because I want to, sometimes it seems like it isn't possible. I don't know. Because there's so many people who say like, oh, breeding snakes is impossible to be a full-time job. And maybe they're right for 95% of people, but there's always the 5% that stick through it and do well. There's the Vin Russos. There is the Kevin McCurley's. There is the Nick Muttons, which is like a super big one. If you want to not breed 10 million of something and, you know, go with it that way, that might be a good person to look for. And it takes a, you know, hell of a lot of skill and effort. But it's a nicer slice to me, I feel, than the wholesale people. You know, it's nicer than doing the wholesale route. It is something that, you know, he has mastered in a way that not many other people have. And then, you know, there's just so many different ways to do it, but you're hoping that somehow you can become one of these people. And I think it's possible. Like, I just believe that everyone has the same potential. You know what I mean? Like, if you just try hard and don't give up, it will work out. And I do not know how it will work out, but I'm just saying that in hopes that it does. Because if they figured it out, then we can figure it out. If we can figure it out, then you can figure it out. It's just, you have to be willing to go to the depth that we're willing to go to.
Dang. I was really hoping you were
Which
going to say
is-
willing to go the distance.
No, but just willing to go as far as we are in order, like willing to risk everything, willing to live a shitty life. Because I don't know if people think that we like have an opulent life of some sort.
Let's not put all that out there.
No, but it's true. Like we don't really have shit. We're just trying to start. We're starting from the bottom, but I mean, and we've started something so far, and we're gonna turn it into more. I think
That's
it's
the
just
crazy thing about snakes. You can be doing it for 2 years and still like be like
that
you're at
is
the bottom.
nothing at all, though.
There's,
that is nothing. People have been doing it for 10, 20 years. It's nothing.
but that's crazy to do it for 20 years and feel like you're still like at the bottom. That's crazy.
Well, no one's doing it for 20 years. Is still at the bottom.
That's what I was trying to say, and you said.
But no matter what, you're the bottom to someone.
Feeling like
everyone. There's always someone better.
2 years of your life and feeling like oh my gosh.
2 years is nothing.
But in other careers, 2 years, that's some effort you're putting in. Like that's a big nudge on the.
Big
trajectory.
Nut to crack.
No. Oh, you don't know what I'm saying.
No. 2 years. 2 years is significant to us because, we're in our mid-20s and we've only been adults for like a short period of time to where 2 years seems like the end of our lives because it's difficult to get going. It's difficult to get on our feet. It's difficult to get the business running and getting everything in order. But it's like, it's hoping that this difficulty will pay off in the future. It's hoping that we're going to sacrifice now in order to do a lot later. So, I don't know. It's just something that I'm worth giving up. An amount of time is worth giving up our 2 years, 3 years, 4 years.
It's gonna be more.
And think about like people have been doing it. I mean, Barchek was a breeder for like 25 years, right? He didn't really. He like did well in the snake breeding sense, but he made probably more money in the last year or two than, and it's not all about money, but it's a tribute to he ate shit for a long time, right? Like he wasn't making a lot of money for a very long time, and he eventually did it until he broke through, and there's something to attribute to that. There's something great about that. So,
and obviously I haven't like known about him forever, but for the little time I known about him, I feel like his career has, obviously social media has made a huge influence on his career, but I think he, in the last couple of years, has started to diversify himself way more than he ever did. Obviously, animals wise, he's been diverse. Well, because he's a huge collection. So obviously he's going to be diverse in what type of animals he has. But as far as like, what is it? Reptile.
Yeah, just diversifying
the place he opened, like I wonder if is it just now that he got the funds to do that, or is it just now that he like
part of
wanted to do it? I would be interested to know if you would ever come on the podcast. What all those things, like did it take this long to really get the funds to open that, or was it just the ideas and the momentum, or just right time in your life to do this? But we'll never know.
Well, it's weird because it's like, did it take him well, it's also a change in the market, right? So why would he have quit and diversified when he was selling a ball python for $25,000?
Right.
I mean, 25, who wouldn't do that? And all of a sudden the bottom's fallen out a little bit, but so he's diversifying, and it's paying off tremendously.
So I guess it just didn't make sense for him to diversify.
Are we diversifying because of the market, or did we catch that sooner? Was that always the case? Was it always that he should have diversified from the beginning?
Right.
Or is it the timeliness of the market right now?
Ball python.
A little bit of both, I feel. I feel like even he could if he just did supplies, he would be Zoomed. And I think that, quite frankly, there are still people making money off of heat rocks today.
Zoomed's making money off.
I wasn't gonna say any names. No, I know. I was kidding. But it's like, I was afraid part of it with doing supplies is like, I'm gonna use a lot of, like, we have to use plastics for things like that. It's like, am I contributing to something bad? And then I was like, well, if I can do good things in the hobby, and there's going to be environmental cost to everything, and quite frankly, if I don't do it, other people are going to do it and don't care about the environment and don't care about that. Why don't I just do it? And eventually, once we get the money and do everything, we can support conservation. We can support things like that. We can make it more sustainable so that when we're selling 100 products, we may not look like very eco-friendly or something like that. But when we're doing volume, since we'll be able to pay manufacturers, do all that stuff, we can make it to the point where it is something that is sustainable for the environment and sustainable for us. We can't do it in quantity now, so making everything in glass bottles, if that was more environmentally friendly in that case, then, and sticking away from plastics, then that would eat into our profit margin and we would not be a business. But say if I started in plastic, we make $3 at a time instead of $1 at a time. Once we get to higher volume, we can start making better moves about that. So I want to be able to, and it's also serving the industry. It's serving the hobby. And what's a heat rock doing? It's both environmentally unfriendly through packaging and through the actual product itself, probably made in a warehouse in China, very, very low wage workers, something like that. And it also doesn't do the job very well. It doesn't service our hobby. It doesn't do what we wanted to put out there. It isn't servicing the keeper. It's not servicing anyone. So it's like, why don't we just do that? And it won't start off like that, but that's something that you'll have to build up to get something like that would be sold at a pet store, that would be sold at a big box store. It is, and it can affect, the hobby. As how much has Zoom Ed done for the hobby since 1974 or something like that? They were made. How much further has keeping come? And it's because of them.
Yeah.
But guess what? The next generation, it can be because of us and them, or it can be because
Port
of us.
City Pet Supplies.
That's no, it's just, I wanted to rename it Atrox, by the way, for a little bit.
You've been saying, you say, by the way, like you haven't told me that 10 million times. You told me it multiple. Well, your media company is called Atrox Media. Yeah. Clearly, you really, really like the name Atrox. You probably want to name your child Atrox or something.
It's because, like, think about the large companies, Zilla, Zoomed, they're all one name, kind of like, and that goes for everything, Google, Facebook, everything is just one, it's like a succinct name, right?
Yeah, because
Zappos.
Humans like easy.
Right. So Port City Pythons, even though it does come off the tongue nice, it is a little bit much. Atrox would be something that would be succinct and really get to you. But I don't know if it get to you, but it's easy to say and it's easy to recognize. And I think we would benefit from being Atrox. But then again, I love Port City Pythons because that's like the newborn baby. It's like the baby of all babies. It's the
How long did you think about? Well,
Port City Pythons about a day and a half.
I was about to say, wait, it's not that like complex. Before you chose
everything in Oswego is called Port City something. Then I was like, well, I'm never gonna venture outside of Python. So let's do Port City Pythons. Okay.
Yeah, good.
I was wrong, but it sounds good.
And did you think you were never gonna venture out of Oswego?
And by the way, I had no idea. That was like 2014 or 15. So that was when I was starting to think about dropping out of college, and I was like, this reptile thing may be a decent choice. So I was getting really serious with it. Eventually, I dropped out of college in my senior year. And at the time, I was working at an e-commerce business, and we were shipping, a bunch of things out. And that's kind of the knowledge that I want to take into our supply business. And being able to do all the e-commerce stuff. I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. I was doing it with snakes, but I didn't realize that it doesn't work well with snakes because the supply is depending on us waiting 3 to 5 years to wait for things to happen. So we don't have supply to sell. So that's why it's hard. And I also don't want to sell them like that. So supplies will give me, I'll be able to make business moves, e-commerce moves, different moves, but still keep my soul. I don't want to make those moves with snakes. That's just the bottom line. And that's not talking down on anyone who does. That's just a personal thing that I can't get past. So therefore, why not do what we're gonna do? It's logical.
James wants us or says we could name our child I don't know, Crotalus, or how do you pronounce it? Crotalus.
So I've heard people say Crotalus as well, though.
Okay.
In your defense.
Crotalus Atrox Phelan.
It's the Western Diamondback.
If you did that, I'd literally die.
Well, you did say Amelia. That's your new one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you comparing Amelia to Crotalus?
No, Crotalus Atrox is. I mean, I'm sure we could get like Pyro for a male, though.
Also, the fact that you said like a male, like you're talking about a snake, we're talking about like future humans here.
I mean, like, I don't want to be a proven breeder right now. If we can read like at least 3 to 5 more years, maybe I'll be ready to go. I don't know. I'm not 300 grams yet. So
are you 3 feet long?
I am 3 feet long. Maybe, it's 3 feet long, 300 pounds, 30 years. So I need to be 30 years, 300 pounds to breed. Yeah, that's what it is. So, I mean, if we get there, we get there. Otherwise, we'll try to power feed, seasonal feed. I mean, I don't want to be obese. I'll probably eat more in spring.
I will definitely seasonally. I
need to brewmate.
I will definitely power feed before.
when you're getting...
I will definitely power feed.
It's weird because with humans, it happens after, right? Because like you don't start power feeding
till the eggs
you
are
go to the bar,
right.
You get drunk, and then you get fertilized. Sorry, your face right now.
Retract that statement.
So a female,
yes, you
gets
don't
married.
You don't power feed till after.
You basically, even you get pregnant and then you start eating because your body needs it.
Right.
With the snakes, we feed them before to make sure they're ready to go. So I'm not sure if you would benefit from a pre-fattening, but I'm gonna go with we'll stick our power feeding till after.
I don't think I need a pre-fattening.
I don't know. I haven't bred these before. So
again, we're not proven breeders. Think everything.
Thank God, right? We haven't been doing it right. That's the problem.
What?
No.
Oh my God! Please cut this
terrible.
out. Please cut this out. Please cut. Oh, James Lewis said sorry. He's 3 feet long. I wasn't even thinking about it that way. I was not. Oh, this is so bad. Is it time yet?
And the male needs to have a spur to the female for your face.
Okay. I don't know where you're going. I thought we were ending that.
I don't know. Yeah,
conversation.
We have to, but I'm not sure what else to say after that.
Hey, parting words. You got 6 minutes.
Co-stars. Parting words.
Co-stars.
After that.
That's what I'm saying.
Co-stars?
No, go stars.
Go stars.
Think about it.
Go stars. Okay. NHL playoffs?
Yes.
We're not going to talk about
I was like, well, we're off topic already. Let me throw in my go stars.
You got to say it separately. Go stars.
What do you mean go stars?
Not go stars.
Go stars.
I don't know. I'm freaking out right now.
See, this is why we never do ones just us.
What else
are we going?
No, I'm trying to think of other clutches that we have going on. We have the honey prelay shed. We have the A-male buff in prelay shed.
Let's talk about our new ones.
We have a bunch of snakes. Well, what are our new ones?
Well, the brain is finally ready.
The brain,
which if you listen, you should know the brain is our snow.
No, we don't talk to him about him on the podcast, but we post him on Instagram.
Well, I thought we were talking about. Okay, well, the brain is our snow.
Yes, the brain is our snow tessera male. How
Yes,
dare you forget
sorry.
his
I
last
knew
name?
that. His last name. I knew that. Okay. I feel like we already talked about this in the last time we did just us. We
No.
talked about breeding updates.
But we've bred and have pre-laced
We
shed
bred
since
them.
then. And
And we
then
have
so the brain is going to a few different things. He's going to our Sunglow tessera, which is an amel tessera, bred out the way. And so he went to her, which she is proven breeder. She bred for us last year. She produced a nice clutch. But he's also breeding to our Anery tessera, which they both have a crazy amount of hets. And that is the first time that they are both breeding. Virgin female, virgin male. Should be awesome. Should get some snows, some snow tesseras, some crazy snow tessera stripy things. Some crazy things going on with that one. Then we have Red Factor, Anery tessera. It's called Red Factor, but it isn't seeming to react like regular Red Factor. It's a very, very dark animal. So we're thinking it may be something what's called Red Coat, which actually does a similar things in some morphs as Red Factor, but in the anery stuff seems to darken them. So therefore, we are really excited for that. See what she is, because she is really, really dark, really, really striped. And she's awesome. And she's going to our Coral Ghost Tessera Stripe male, who is a crazy animal also. So, and she's het for hypo too. So we ghost red. I don't
we
know.
don't even know
Red
what's
Factor.
gonna pop up. And that's kind of exciting, not knowing what's gonna pop out. I mean,
oh yeah, that's why we're
last
doing
year
it, man.
we never expected to make that one we sent to Gustavo. I mean, such dark, such bold colors.
Oh, the Miami,
from the Miami
Ogati pairing. Like,
yeah.
how do I even give any of those away this year? The way that the reverse Ogatis turned out, why didn't I keep back a pair of those? The way that the Anery, the Anery male went, why did I ever get rid of him? And I have the normals, which are awesome, but I'm an idiot for just keeping back a pair of the normals because I thought that was going to be the best part of the project, but it actually isn't. It's the Aneries and the reverse. The reverse Okati was like the one that I gave Mike, so I guess that's some retribution that I got Eastern Black King Snakes. He got this animal, but it is just the exact. If anyone has the book by Kathy Love, the Corn Snake book, there is a reverse Okati on the cover of that book. It looks exactly like that animal, and that is exactly what I want in a reverse Okati. It's a very, very classic look. It's not the most dramatic look that we have in the hobby, but it's like symmetrical and it's perfect looking. And I want one of those, and I sold it. It's kind of like it's gonna be a bad reference, like a bodybuilding reference, but like in the 70s, like bodybuilders, like Arnold Schwarzenegger looked good, right? And he was like, his muscles, he had symmetry, everything like that. And then you get into like the 90s, and there's the Dorian Yates. There's the guys who are way too yoked, and you're like, is that a human? Like, why do you want to look like that? And I feel like that's where we are with a lot of corn snake morphs. So a reverse Ogati, it's so extreme that it's all white with little pieces of red. The outline turns into the base color of the snake. And then you have the like very, very dark red ones that are very, very contrasted with very big borders. But what's missing is that like quaint, symmetrical red, white, and like orange snake that has the perfect amount of each one of those.
Right.
And it's just like, that is the quintessential. That is like, if the AKC, I don't know how the AKC works, but if they have a look for a dog that's perfect, then the breeders go around and try to make the dog look like that, right? Well, that for me, that's like the trophy reverse Ogati. That is like the breed standard. That's the standard of what it should look like, and we should strive for that. And I want to strive for that, but I can't. But that's kind of my thought when it comes to reverse Ogatis. With all the other things, I'm like I don't have nostalgia for them like that. I want to make them bigger and brighter and crazy. But for that one, because everyone's going bigger and brighter and crazy, I want to go classic look to it.
Total little aside, but you talked about aneries in that. And someone earlier in the chat said like they're having the hardest time finding an adult anery. And they're like, it's so simple. yeah, it is so hard for them to find. And I think that is something like a lot of people need to like acknowledge and notice. Like, that's crazy. It shouldn't be hard to just find an anery, but
common things become uncommon just because people stop demanding them, and then people stop producing them, and then people stop producing them, and then people want them. That's how supply and demand works, unfortunately, in our area of that, and that goes for a lot of things, and that just happens. But the Facebook thing, I meant to mention that
I've
a
been
lot
wondering.
earlier.
Well,
man.
you and I over
And
the
I'm
past
kind of
week,
sad that we're gonna mention it at the end, but
you and I have been
introduce it 'cause-
debating. We've been debating talking about the Facebook thing. So if you live under a rock and you don't know about the Facebook thing, Facebook has been changing their or has really been getting stricter about their policies. So I mean, for a long time, you were not supposed to sell things on Facebook, like period, point blank. But we worked a way around it, and reptile groups happen, whatever. But now they're getting very strict about it. And a lot of people have talked about it. And so we've been debating, like, do we bring it up? Is it beating a dead horse, or like, do we say our opinions on it? And I guess Joe did want to talk about it, so I can say mine. Mine, I think, is a different opinion than a lot of people because I'm not in any of the Facebook groups. Like, so I probably shouldn't even say anything. But like, that's Joe's thing. I get in them when I'm randomly like on his Facebook, but like I'm not in them. But I feel like
And
my thing is I felt like people, just the outsiders looking in, like, take it with a grain of salt. But I feel like people were using the Facebook groups as a crutch, and I feel like it was an unnecessary crutch. I mean, yes, I would be.
Did you mention that it's not Facebook rules haven't changed?
No, that's what I was saying. No, I said they're getting stricter. I said they're about about enforcing it.
People are reporting the groups.
The rules have always been that you're not supposed to sell.
Not always, but like 2 years ago, and we knew about it, and we freaked out for a second, and then nothing.
And then
happened.
Just kept going. Right. So, we worked our way around it, whatever. So I mean, the rules have been that you're not supposed to sell, but we found our workarounds. We're not putting prices in there. We'll put the prices in the comments and not. We find our ways, but now they're actually enforcing it. So I shouldn't say they're being stricter. I should say they're heavily enforcing the already set rule. But my thing is just, yes, I feel like it was one division of sales that is now, sorry, I had to do that. And I still failed. One division of sales that is now gone, but that shouldn't be your only way. I don't know.
You mean you should set up a business? Guess what? I mean, if anything is a testament to starting a website, if anyone was like, oh, I'm not going to Instagram because, I don't like Instagram. It seems lame. Like, kids are on Instagram. Well, guess what, man? You're too late now. Everyone's already on Instagram. Why didn't you do it in the beginning? You can't marry one platform. You can't say I'm only going to do Facebook because Facebook is what I'm used to. Well, if you want to evolve with the times and you want to keep on selling snakes, you are going to have to. And at the end of the day, if you have a website, then you always have a website. They can never take that away from you. People may not buy a lot through there. Even I only get 3 to 4 sales through there a year, like straight from there. Otherwise, it's mostly like people hitting me up through social media to talk about it. Like, people aren't just finding the website and getting it, and I wouldn't want to do it that way either, because there's just a lot of questions you have to ask people. I don't just ship out animals, but that just goes to show you that you can't put all your eggs in the same basket. It's so obvious, but so many people have done it. So why are you freaking out? It's the same thing. Same amount of people are going to want to get animals, and the same amount of people are selling animals and buying animals. It's just, you're going to have to find a different way to do it. Guess what? You got to always be open to it. And we were always on Morph Market. We were always on our own website.
Even the fauna, that's been around forever. We were on that too. I sell
a lot of snakes through fauna. We sold
the Kings.
5 snakes yesterday through fauna. How much was it? Was it 4?
It was 3.
No, 3 boxes.
Sorry, it's a 1.1, a 0.1, a 0.1.
So you
No,
get
it's
for
4. It
doubting
was
me.
4.
Oh,
It was
4.
4.
Just kidding.
But yeah, it's like we're on fauna. Fauna's been around forever, but we're not only on fauna. I think you have to, like, kind of been the thing of this podcast is diversify yourself in your selling techniques. You should not be, like Joe said, married to one thing. And I understand a little frustration from this Facebook thing, but I don't understand like the outcry.
Guess what? It's hard. It
Like,
sucks. You need to work more. Oh no. You
like,
just need to work harder. That's it.
and
man.
think about the millions of things that are sold
And sorry
in
if
the
I'm being
world
a
that
dick.
aren't on Facebook. You know, like we're happy that we got to sell things on Facebook, period.
Yeah, what
Like,
other retailer does
Facebook
is
sales
be able to crutch solely on Facebook?
Right. No,
No one.
the website comes first for most people. And it's like, yeah, but actually
You should at least have that landing page to make sure people know that you're legitimate. That's the thing. It makes you look, even if I'm selling something on Craigslist, when I send someone my website, they're like, they automatically trust me 100 times more.
Yeah.
It's like we are legit because we have a website. For whatever reason, that means legit in our space. So therefore, I think it's always a good idea to at least make it look presentable. You don't have to put your animals down there. You can even just make it a landing page and it shows some pictures and stuff like that. And it just gives you that extra edge off of someone who doesn't have it. I mean, there's a reason why, some of these bigger guys sell a lot of snakes. They have a lot of snakes coming in, but they also sell a lot of snakes. They look legit, they may be a flipper, stuff like that, but to the outside person, they look legit. So you should probably look legit too. It'd probably help you out.
So we started talking about this because of what Brandon wrote in the chat, but then he said that's actually not what he was even talking about. So I didn't even know. Supposedly Facebook changed like how groups look, and he said they moved them to like a sidebar thing. I don't know what that is.
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't care because I don't even have the Facebook app on my phone anymore.
It did change though. I have the Facebook app.
I actually depended on, and I may be biased because I depended on like Facebook classifieds, like zero. I sold 0 animals from there. I even posted them up and sold 0 animals. So it's like the certain people were trusted on there, other people weren't, and apparently I wasn't within the few that worked for. So it worked for ball pythons, but it did not work for colubrids in my experience.
But I don't know.
So I guess that's why I'm not sad. But that's how I would feel either way, because you don't just
either way you can be a little bit. I think of being a little bit sad is okay, right? Is a little bit sad because like even us when we have like a bad Instagram day, we're like, well, we have YouTube, or if we have a bad YouTube day, we're like, well, we have Facebook. We can hit people on all these different things. Mm-hmm. I didn't like. This is just my personal thing. I didn't like the, oh my gosh, Facebook made one change. Let's all just say F
and this
Facebook.
Like fuck Zuckerberg. It's like, dude, you didn't know that this rule was made a very long time
and I don't
ago,
like this.
Actually.
Let's just all leave Facebook and jump to MeWe. And
I posted animals on there too.
You did?
Yeah. Like I said,
I don't like
do everything you can if you're gonna.
But
sell
I don't
snakes,
like saying like let's not do.
You need
you need
qualified
Facebook.
people,
right? But I don't like the let's just leave Facebook. I didn't like that. I didn't
be bitter and weird about it.
Right. I didn't like that. Oh, they made one thing different. Let's completely leave it. I think that was a little like harsh.
Well, it's that things happen, problems are presented, just see the solutions, and there's plenty of solutions out there for us. Fauna never went away. That's a testament to fauna has looked the same since like 2001, and guess what, it still works, and you can still post animals up there, and I'm glad that it's there. And that even though Facebook sold more snakes for people recently, doesn't devalue the fact that fauna exists. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't post your animals on fauna. Hell yeah, try to post them on fauna. That's a different person. I can tell you that you can find a customer that you would not find on Facebook. You will sell to a 65-year-old man that does not have a Facebook. Trust me. Like you just hit all the areas so that you could find a qualified. That's just more people who are qualified to buy the animal. Why wouldn't you try?
And
you're just reposting the pictures and just copy and pasting what you said, man. It's
James was
okay.
like, there's nothing stopping you from posting pictures.
No.
You can post your pictures and say, hey, here's
Someone's
what I have.
contacts
Email
for pictures. You're
right. You're just like, email me if you're interested. And like, you can still like make pseudo sales through Facebook.
Oh, how do you feel about message for price?
I don't like that. And I don't know. I don't like. I feel like that just looks scummy.
Because it's like, and there's
secret. It looks secret. It feels secretive to me.
Well, and they're trying to get a lead in the door so that they can convert you to have it. But like, why would you need to sell someone?
It feels very secretive to me. And if you just put the price like in the captions or type it out,
because some things I'm like, this is the first time I've seen this. Is it $400 or is it $10,000? Like, I need some guidance so that I'm wasting your time because I don't know if it's a top dollar animal or not, or I don't know if a male copper rat snake, I've never seen one before. Maybe it's worth $100, maybe it's worth $10,000. I don't know, but if I like the look of it, maybe I'll want to inquire, and it'll be a waste of my time if it's $10,000 if I'm looking for something for 400 or 1,000. I mean, but that's just us as poor people trying to be like, your snake's probably too expensive for me, so don't listen to us. It's an interesting tactic to get people to hit you up.
I don't know. It feels wrong to like keep the price. I'm like, what are you? I don't trust that you're telling everyone the same price.
That's probably true.
I can't fully believe that you're doing that. So I feel like you can post the pictures on Facebook and say, hey, come to my website. Like this, or email me. Go old school and say, email me for my price list. Joe still gets price list emails. Yeah. Like some people still do it that way. But yeah, the whole like DM me for price.
Yeah, I don't care. Like I bet you if you were to set up a website, you were to have a landing page where it's like, do you want updates of our availability? Please give us your email. People would give you their email, and then you can send out emails of what's available. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure that's a modern day price list.
Right.
And would be a great way to sell snakes. I bet that would still work because most of your emails are from like places that you don't want to see, like promotional things. But like snake people who really want snakes, you're opening that email of available animals just to look. You just want to see what's available. I mean, that's why we all just like looking at snakes that are available, even when we don't buy them. The only problem is when you're looking at snakes and then if you contact the person and you don't intend to buy. And then there's every once in a while where you get someone who's just interested in the species and like you're willing to give them that time
talk to them about it. Right.
Because you can see that they're actually pumped up about it. They may not be able to afford it now. So you also want to give time to the person who's looking for information. And there's no way to, we go into rabbit holes with people all the time.
Right. And it happens. But I mean, you could simply be like, if you're having them email you, you just, literally send a list and there doesn't have to be back and forth,
Yeah, it's something that, as far as a list goes, you would have to hit them up eventually, but it's someone who's very
you
qualified.
Hit them up and then you send the list and then that could be it. Like, you don't have to go through the back and forth of questions.
Yeah, it's hard because you're wondering, you're always trying to balance that. What is good customer service and what is just wasting your time.
Right.
So you don't want to get too deep on the ins and outs of everything when that person wasn't that serious in the first place. So
definitely, but I don't know. Our view on it clearly is there's other ways around Facebook.
And guess what? There's always other ways around everything.
Everything. There's other ways to do everything.
Unless they ban snakes via the federal government. And then we're fine.
There's still other ways.
Okay, you're not supposed to say that, man.
Not saying we partake in them, but there's still other ways.
There's always
those other ways have been going on for a long time. We just don't know about them.
But as far as one obstacle, one little cog in a wheel of a whole lot of cogs, there's other things.
That was a great
you can always
sentence.
adjust. Sorry.
That was such a good
It's
sentence.
not. It doesn't change the market that's there. There's still people wanting snakes. So I don't see why. Just find out. This gives you more of an opportunity to find out where the next place is to sell snakes. So say if MeWe is the new biggest place to sell snakes, I want to start building that trust early. I wanted to put my ads on there today.
But you're not going to give up on Facebook.
No, I'm not going to give up on anything. You never give up on anything, but you always try the new thing because there's nothing. It's 10 minutes of your time. It took me 2 minutes to put something up on MeWe.
I wish it didn't sound so stupid.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it sounds childish and terrible and borderline confusing, I'm sure, to some people. So MeWe, by the way, is a third-party app that is kind of like a forum if it was on a modern day.
I have not even looked. So it's not like Facebook.
It's basically Fauna, man. But Fauna's not user-friendly. Tap Talk works, but it's not great. But it's interesting. I don't want to discard it. I want to try it for what it is. And
what was the other one you tried a couple months ago?
Damn! What was that? Vega or Vivo?
Vivo. I think it was like Vivo.
No, Vivo's the
it's the music thing. Video. I started with the Vivo.
Vero.
You made one of those.
People thought that was going to be like a new social network for like a day. I made one and nothing happened, and that's fine, man. Because if it is the next Instagram, then I am, I don't even know what the first reptile person was on Instagram, but I'm sure they have. The first person who takes it serious.
I'd be very interested to know who the first.
It's just like, how jealous am I of the people
whose voice doesn't crack during the podcast
and have dropped their testicles. Shit, you got me off topic.
You're jealous of
I'm jealous of the people who were on YouTube 2010. Jealous of the people who, let me try to dig up an old channel if I can try to figure it out. Oh no, like Drew the Entertainer. Does anyone remember that? Or, people could get 20,000 subscribers off of doing very, very little.
Back in early YouTube.
And by the way, that wasn't saying that Drew the Entertainer did very, very little. That sounds shitty that I put that in the same sentence. But that's just an earlier YouTuber who took advantage of the times and was able to build something out of it. And it takes a little while now. It takes a lot of work and a lot of time, just like it would take a lot of work and a lot of time to build a Facebook page, just like it takes a lot of work and a lot of time to start an Instagram. It was a lot easier when Instagram first started.
Mm-hmm.
When Facebook first started, it was free range. So it benefits you to jump early because you have nothing to lose, everything to gain. And if YouTube came around for me, my modern day YouTube, if Vero was our modern day YouTube, we would win it. And just the next thing that comes around, we have to continue to try things and win that platform because that's what will matter in the future as far as selling reptiles. And you need to at least be on there. It's better than not participating at all. Just participate in a sense. And that just goes to the longevity of hanging out and, being there. You just build up different. Barczyk would have never been on YouTube if he wasn't breeding, I'm sure, for 20 years before or 15 years before. And then, there's this new opportunity to show people the stuff that I'm doing. Let's try. It's all about taking chances and doing things even when they seem unreasonable. But MeWe seems very, very unreasonable, but hey, why not?
We'll see.
They are one of the top 5 trending apps, and I think that is partly because of the reptile industry. It was the 5th. I think it was the number 5, 5th social app.
I don't know anyone who uses it.
I know, but now reptile people do, and if reptile people keep on using it, then that's a thing. I think some people are starting new things. There's this iReptile thing that's going around.
Oh yeah, someone was talking about that.
And then it's also like, hey guys, have you not seen Morph Market? Why aren't we utilizing Morph Market?
And pumping that up.
That can happen too. But I mean, a new one can certainly happen as well. So that should be fun if that turns out to be something. So there's always room for competitors with stuff like that. And there is an opportunity now that Facebook is down. So everyone who can relinquish, or not relinquish, but take over in that opportunity, it will make the hobby better, and that person will benefit from it, and life will be good.
Ooh, Ryan just asked a question, but time's out, Ryan.
I think we answered that question through our actions and not through. There's a reason why you haven't seen some people up there. So
there's more to say on that. We'll message.
And
Ryan.
the people that are. Oh man, what was I gonna say?
You're gonna say thank you guys for
people that are listening isn't cued into what we're talking about, but trust me, it's
okay. But thank you to everyone who's watched us on this podcast, and everyone who listens to the download, and everyone who has always supported us through our very good, serious, educational podcast.
If you made it this far.
Hey, everyone who supported us through a really serious, educational, and like mind learn. I thought
you were gonna say mind numbing.
I was. Or whatever. And who supported us through this type of
even
podcast.
through like the fundraising shirts, everyone who supported us during that, and then people who have just reached out otherwise, and people who support us. It's pretty awesome that we have built this small, but it feels like a thing to us.
It's a thing. I mean, think about it. We were just talking about Carpet Fest today, and like we're gonna have a total frat house over here. Like, if you had asked us a year ago, like, would I have?
We didn't know half these.
Would I have like 4 boys staying in my house for a weekend?
Boys, you make it sound so ridiculous.
Okay, what was I supposed to say?
I don't know.
For Carpet Fest, that like I've never met any of them in real life, that they're coming to stay at our house. Like, that's wild.
And we were kind of saying the same thing the year before too, which is we just meet more people because, a year ago, that's when we first met. Like, all of our snake friends came within the last 2 to 3 years, 100%. So, and there's just been so many things that have happened since then, and we've moved across the country. We moved from Dallas to Philly, and
you guys have been here for it all. So thank you. I mean, we say thank you a lot, but we really thank you, and we're just thank you for like being our friends. I mean, it's sad, but like we haven't made any like real friends in Philly yet, but we've made like real online snake friends.
And we hang out with Eric and Owen and Matt.
Yeah, that's true. But it's just nice to know that like we have
because not everyone's gonna be like on your block. We can hang out with them, but we're lucky to have a core group of people that live here, as well as people all around the country, and quite frankly, all around the world.
But yes, thank you for watching this. Like we said, the shirts are gonna be on sale till Friday.
Get them.
Go on Theportcitypythons. It'd be really crazy if we could sell 100 shirts this year. I mean, that would be a lot since we're only in the 30s. But I mean, if we could even get to 50 this year, that'd be really nice. If we could sell, 20 more shirts by Friday, that'd be awesome. So tell your friend. I mean, thank you to Joe's friends. Joe's had some friends from high school who aren't even into snakes who bought the shirt just to support.
Yeah, so step it up, guys.
Step it up. Thank you, John Chan. I know you don't listen to this podcast, but thank you.
Imagine if he just like messages you like, yes, I listened to all 3 hours of that podcast.
I know he does it. But yeah, so shirts till Friday. We will keep you guys updated on when babies are hatching and everything with our breeding process. Expect a lot. We also have the corn snake inventory online, though, if you guys, just want to see the list of everything. We have our normal shirts still available on our website, portcitypythons.com. We are on Instagram, Facebook, MeWe, Twitter.
Visit us on MeWe.
And if you are coming to Carpet Fest June 9th?
Sure, let's go with that. Look it up.
It's June 9th. We'll be there rolling deep.
Whoa.
With our crew.
Wow, rolling like a rave. No, not
you made it worse.
Oh, sorry.
You made it worse. My rolling deep was already bad, and you made it worse. Rolling in the
deep. We've done a lot of singing.
Yeah, great. See, you expected a bad outro, and this is what you got. At least we give you guys what you
You
expect.
could have
right?
been anywhere else in the world, but you decided to be here with us.
To be here with us on this lovely May Monday.
But y'all ain't got to leave, but y'all's got to get the hell out of here now.
Carl said, "You guys are tops. All y'all's here." Thank you guys for indulging me and my y'alls and my scientifical statements.
We will catch you all next week.
Next week.
When we have a guest.
We have a guest. I don't even know who it is.
You said like questioning me, like
because I don't know if we have a guest.
And count the amount of times my voice has cracked.
Yeah, what's going on today?
I don't know, man. Catch you guys later. You want to say something else, don't you? Portcitypythons.com, Instagram, Portcitypythons, From the Ground Up podcast. And if you're listening this far.
Nope, you messed it up. If you've made it this far.
Well, I was changing it for the podcast. We don't ever say it on
but
the podcast.
saying if you've listened to this far.
If you've managed to passively listen to this on the earphones, which is a lot harder than watching, to be honest.
You're on the team. You're on the team. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, we're trying not to make this whole conversation.
Okay, good night.
Now that you know a lot more about our lives. Good night.